Bro, this person came into my server, and I'm not joking. I think they just made a Discord account, and the Discord account is Foodshops the Ignorant. You can't be serious, man. Hello? Hello?
Hello. Oh, give me a second.
Okay.
Gotta do the. Hello, 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 hello.
Hello. Hi, welcome.
You're in my headphones now. Okay, perfect. All right, hi.
Hi, what's up?
I don't know. I was just watching your stream. I thought it was very interesting that you have kind of nothing important or interesting to say. So, yeah, and I thought, well, who is this person to be talking about the topic, right? So I started asking questions, sent a couple messages. You ignored me at the start, so I called you a coward because it says in your description you do debate and stuff, right? So I was like, okay, this person, they're gonna debate me, and you did not. You banned me, which is crazy. I mean, I imagine you like
I
America. You have the
sure.
flag
So
hanging in the
so
back.
sure. I guess my question is like, why do you care? If you don't like watching somebody, just stop watching them.
Well, it's not like I care a lot. I was on
Okay.
queue waiting for my game of Deadlock, and I saw I followed this channel like zero, and it was yours, right? And
Hmm.
I guess I must have seen one of your videos from a long time ago. I remember you were playing FTL.
Oh, so you do know
Uh,
who I am.
I saw
I
one
thought you were
video a very
new.
long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I'm not an avid content. Well, not like you have any, but I'm not an avid fan of yours.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
Did
No,
you
yeah.
did you
I
did you
should.
just did you just make a new Discord account? Like,
Yeah.
why is your name that? Like, you made a new
I
Discord.
should
You
made it.
never are you new to Discord or something or what?
No. I just opened. I clicked on the Discord link on the bottom of your YouTube channel, and it prompted me to make a new account. I was like, yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I don't really.
Okay, I'm gonna do you a favor, okay? So,
Yeah.
it's a Sunday night, okay? You could be
Yeah.
doing anything else with your time, but instead you're
Mhm.
here. Is this really a good expenditure of your time? Like,
I
you're
mean,
spending
you
your
should be
time
taking it as an honor, dude. Like,
you're spending your time essentially molding and seething and coping in like what, a chat of a streamer that you don't even like, shouldn't you be
hey,
watching streamers that you actually
um,
enjoy watching?
I don't even watch streamers in the first place. I'm hitting the bong. I had some really good food today. I'm chilling. I was just it was a casual of the moment. I mean, you can see all the messages I sent was in the span of 15 minutes. It's not like I spent that much time doing this. I just found it fun. So, do you want to talk about the actual topic,
What do you
or
mean?
do you want to?
You were throwing shit in Twitch chat, and then after I
I
banned
wasn't
you,
throwing
you
shit.
didn't get the hint.
I was asking you questions, and you failed
Good
to
one.
answer
Yep,
any of
you were
them
totally just
properly.
asking questions. Yep, gotcha. Yep.
I mean, pull
Hmm.
up the chat. Pull up the chat. You know, you can see my chat
No, I have
history,
nothing.
right?
I have nothing to prove to you. I'm good. Okay, you go
Ah,
look at it
exactly.
yourself.
See,
Read
you're
out your own
scared.
comments.
No,
Right.
prove
No,
yourself.
I'm
Prove
totally
yourself.
scared. I'm totally scared. I'm
Yeah.
terrified. In
So
fact,
pull up the chat history then.
bro, I don't give a
Pull up
fuck.
my chat.
I have nothing to prove to you. Other people
No, I
saw
know you
what your
don't.
chats were.
I mean, it's just prove it to
You're just
yourself,
asking
right?
questions. Literally, dude, and like asking questions is fucking anything, right? Like, oh, like the fucking Jews are
Yeah, but
controlling
I
the
wasn't
world.
throwing
Oh,
shit.
you're just asking questions. Yeah, like
I
obviously
wasn't throwing shit.
you're not just asking questions. This is so fucking retarded. Like, why are we even talking
Dude,
about this?
my first like
This is a
10
waste of
comments,
time.
I was just asking you questions. It wasn't my intention to throw shit at you. I mean, if you're getting that offended about it, I understand. Doesn't feel good to be ignorant. I get it, but you can get better and you can learn. So I think you should pull up the chat and
How old
show
are
what I
you?
typed.
How old are you?
That does not matter for the conversation at hand, and I'm probably
No,
older
because
than
I
you.
refuse to believe like someone in their mid-30s is doing something like this.
Mid 30s, you can hear in my
Mid-30s,
voice.
yeah.
I'm definitely not mid 30s now. How old are
Bro,
you?
it's usually whenever people do this, it's like around 21 years, 22 years or something. Like they don't really have time to grow and learn, and yeah, they waste time, they fuck around, they find out. So,
I mean,
yeah.
you are a quote unquote debate streamer that is scared of debating, so I don't know.
I'm
Uh,
so scared of
Wasting
debating you
time.
that I dragged you in? How does that make sense?
You banned me. You didn't answer my questions. You don't want to pull up the chat history to show what questions I asked you. I can ask them again.
No, you're being annoying. The fuck? You're being like taunty and weird. Like, why the fuck would I want you there if you're just gonna be a hater? The fuck? I don't need that negative energy in my chat. Yeah, go away.
I mean, all you do is spread the negative energy through your content, right? I mean, I remember watching a video of yours. The one video I watched, I remember thinking it was a pretty negative video. So, I mean, I'm not trying to be like shitty, dude. I'm just trying to have a conversation. And
No,
at the start,
you are. I mean, you might as well own it, right? Like at this point, if you're being condescending and a prick
I
and
mean,
stuff.
yeah,
Like,
it was kind of fun getting you to mold like
okay,
this.
yeah,
I
so
think it's a
just
bit
own it.
funny.
Like, why even
Yeah,
power
sure,
behind
sure.
it?
I'll own that.
Yeah, this
I'll own that.
silly.
But I was also trying to genuinely understand what your perspective is on the current situation in Gaza. So, I mean, would you explain it to me? What do you believe Israel is doing?
I believe that they are clearing the land. They might be doing ethnic cleansing.
And you would not call that a genocide?
No, ethnic cleansing is not the same as genocide. No.
Okay. What does ethnic cleansing entail for you?
When you're moving a massive amount of people, not necessarily by exterminating them, but simply just like trying to move them away so that you can claim land for yourself, maybe, or maybe there are ethnical or cultural reasons. It's not an official reason. Like, for example, it's not an official term, right? Like ethnic cleansing isn't actually a real term that is being defined by any kind of like
Yeah, it's hard to define.
actual level first. Yeah, exactly.
100%.
So the reason why I'm using this is
Also
because
because-
typically that's a very colloquial term that is commonly used in this way, basically. Yeah. Like for example, the
Also
Trail of
because
Tears.
ethnicity-wise,
Like
I mean,
I'll say the Trail of Tears is the ethnic cleansing. It's not a genocide, right?
well, so if we look at, okay, I feel like you're splitting hairs a little bit, but if we look through the 7 stages of genocide, ethnic cleansing or the attempt of ethnic cleansing is.
What is the 7 stages of genocide? Can you describe them for me?
Yeah, I got them written down here.
Because I use the UN definition. I use the UN definition, so I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with what you're saying.
Oh yeah, can you read the UN definition for me?
Where does the 7 stage? I would have to pull it up. Let me see. UN definition. I did this research like 2 years ago. UN Office on Genocide.
You know what it's
Article
based on?
1. I think there
on?
was this guy. I think there's this guy named I forgot his name, but like basically it was a Jew that survived the Holocaust, I believe, or something. And then was there to essentially talk about how to define what genocide means, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the name? Can you remind me? I actually legitimately forgot. I don't think it's very important though.
Gregory H. Stanton.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
same guy that wrote the 7 stages of genocide that the UN definition is based on. By the way, on article
sure,
2,
sure, but like
wait, hold on.
Why would I not trust the UN
sorry.
more than one of the people who like contributed to this, like to the UN thing? Like, why would I?
What? Sorry, can you?
Because he wasn't the only person who probably, like, most likely he isn't the only person who helped like establish, right, the terms in the fucking UN definition of genocide.
No.
So like, why would you hyper focus? Like, why would you hyper focus on like one person and like the work that he did afterwards?
Because it is a very commonly used. It is like what most people hear about when we're talking genocide. The first thing you learn is the 7 stages of it. At least in my case, I know I have an actual education. You know, I know it's a bit hard for you Americans. I'm sorry, but in the UN definition, I'm reading it right now. In Article 2, it says the first qualification is members of a specific group. It doesn't say ethnicity, but you mentioned ethnic cleansing. I believe
if I'm a cop and I fucking gun down a bunch of like fucking random black teenagers in Compton, okay, does that qualify for Article 2?
Well, it has to be on a state level, and you could definitely argue for the American.
You're saying American
government.
cops. You're saying American cops is committing genocide against black people. Just say yes.
Yeah.
If you own it, you'll look stronger.
You don't believe that?
You're gonna say yes? Did you just say yes? I didn't hear you.
100%, dude. You got a problem with that?
Yeah, I think it's silly.
How so? How so? Explain yourself. Do you not believe that black people have been?
You think that? Okay. So to be very clear, you believe. So I'm not sure if you even like define the Civil War as being real. So to be fair, we had a war that is based completely off of freeing like black slaves, and then we went from freeing them from slaves to genocide now.
that's a very simplified way of putting
Okay,
history
I mean,
on.
you tell
It
me the
didn't
history then.
go.
This just sounds retarded. I'm sorry.
I mean,
I'm
it's
not
your
even.
country.
By the way, I'm not even like a fucking political streamer. I'm a fucking drama streamer, and somehow like
Dude, I
you
looked
sound
through your
retarded.
YouTube channel. I looked through your YouTube
Yeah, I'm a
channel.
drama
You
tuber.
are yeah, but you are also very political, and you cannot say you're not a
All right,
political
what's a
content creator.
recent video that is political? I guess in the last maybe few weeks, maybe I forgot. Maybe I did cover some politics and I forgot about it. But yeah, politics is more of a hobby. Like I'll say, like off stream, not on stream. I'm only covering this
I
because
mean,
Professor Dave brought up some snarking points that I have to debunk. So yeah, that's why.
there's like some debate thing here at a 10 dog pile from DGG. I don't even know what DGG is. You have like a lot of politics stuff, and that's from 4 days ago. I mean, either way,
4 days ago.
listen.
Let me see.
I don't care how you define yourself. I'm really just
Foodshops
saying that
faces
you.
1v10 dogpile from D. No, it's pure drama. That one is like actually just pure drama. Like that is the worst example you could have ever. What do you mean?
Okay,
How?
sorry.
Watch the fucking video, you retard. Like
Dude,
go and watch the video. Yeah.
Sorry, man. I'm not gonna watch a 1 hour and 57-minute video of a person.
Okay,
who
then why the fuck are you talking out of your
leeches
ass
off
then?
of
Like what the fuck?
content.
That is like the least political
Okay,
video
okay,
you
let
could
me
have
pick
ever
another
picked.
one.
You're retarded. You're
Sorry.
pulling shit out
But
of your
there is
ass. Sorry.
other
Yeah, go ahead.
political
Yeah.
videos then. There's other political videos that you make then.
Like what?
Or at least politically adjacent, like the drama stuff with Destiny, Hassan.
Yeah.
This, I don't know who Aiden is.
Yeah,
Would you not
Hassan's a
consider
drama
that
tuber.
political?
Hassan, no, I mean these are all drama. Yeah, this is all drama.
Oh, okay. So during these drama videos, you don't say your opinion about a certain political situation, or you do?
I do describe my political opinions from time to time. I'll say that.
Okay. So I would then bunch you into saying a person who openly talks about their political opinions in an online platform, you're a political content creator. It's not that hard, girl. Come on.
Okay, so you think, okay, so for example, if somebody did like fucking Barbie doll reviews and then very occasionally they talk about like their political views, would you say that they are a fucking political YouTuber?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Is there anything else? I'm bored now.
I mean, you're bored because you're not adding anything to the conversation. I asked you a couple
Yeah,
questions, and
your
you keep
opinions are retarded. It's not
you
worth
keep
continuing the
deflecting.
conversation.
You don't even know my
black people,
opinion, dog.
you think, bro, your opinions are, no, I know what your opinion. You say that black people are being genocided in the United States, and you think that a Barbie doll reviewer YouTube video person that talks about political shit once in a while is a fucking political YouTuber. Bro, you're retarded. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't have a conversation with that. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to say? Like, what
You
am I
haven't
supposed
been
to say
trying
here?
to have a conversation since I
Like,
joined.
there's so much,
It's pretty obvious.
there's so much ground to cover at this point that I don't even know if we even could
Okay, let's
cover
start
like 10% of that.
Okay, let's keep going then.
Okay,
I'm
do you know what the
looking at
Bosnian
Article
genocide is?
2.
That's fine. But do you know what the Bosnian
Dude,
genocide is?
it's the first thing you talked about when I joined the Twitch stream.
But do you?
Yes,
But do you know
I
what
have
it is?
heard of it. I have heard of it.
You.
I'm not very well knowing on the topic.
Why just heard of it? It's one of the most
I
important
haven't
examples
started
you could
it.
ever bring up when it comes to talking about genocide, because they did a tribunal, and this was in like what 1990 something, 1990. It was I think it was the last case of prosecuting people in the modern age for genocide. I'm pretty sure, and yeah, like no, it's really important when it comes to like how you determine how guilty someone is.
And can you tell me by what entity was were the
UN Tribunal, ICC, I believe. Hold on, let me see. The tribunal
the
for
same ICC that now describes Israel as committing a genocide.
Who prosecuted Bosnian genocide? Let's see.
Stop deflecting. So is it the same ICC identity?
It's not actually the ICC. I don't know what it is. ICTY, Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. Is that still the ICC? I'm not sure. But I just know that they had a tribunal, and then they listed off a bunch of pieces of evidence that yeah.
So what would be necessary evidence for you to dictate that Israel is committing a genocide?
Yeah. So for example, in the Bosnian genocide, they had tractors that were planted there like months beforehand, because they were essentially prepping the tractors to be ready to be shoveling dirt over the dead bodies. They also had secret mandates and secret orders that are being. Wait, are you gonna let me finish finish? Okay. So they also had secret orders and secret mandates essentially sent out to the commanding officers in order to actually say like, oh yeah, like we're gonna go and like do this genocide extermination thing. Okay. Obviously they didn't phrase it genocide, but it was genocide. Okay. Now there is also evidence of, for example, temporary concentration camps that are also being used in order to house specifically boys and men. Because the thing is that well,
Yeah, I heard you
exterminating
say
both
this
women and
20
men.
minutes ago. It's fine. I don't want to hear it again. It's okay. I heard it.
Well, it's relevant. It's
Uh,
relevant. This is like the kind of
no,
evidence I'm
but
looking for.
I heard you say it before. I know what you're gonna say. This with that they separated
Okay,
the
well, that's
men
essentially what
so
I'm
that
looking
the
for.
women
That's
could
it.
not defend
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
That's essentially the evidence I'm
so
looking for. Yes. Yeah. Is there any evidence of that?
I mean, there's, for example, evidence of Netanyahu writing that in Twitter, writing that all Palestinians are like animals and stuff like that, and that he wouldn't. And what was it? The former prime minister was of Israel, minister of defense of Israel, writing that he would trade. He would never. He would wait. What was it? He said. He said something along the lines of like, "I would execute every Palestinian person for one." For the safety of one Israeli woman or something like that, he had said. I mean, in reality, I believe
Okay, well,
Israel
here's the
is
issue.
doing.
Okay, where's the issue, in my opinion, okay, is that you're bringing up tweets, and what I'm looking for is private orders that is being issued out to officers in order to conduct secret operations in order for mass killings.
So, I mean, of course,
That
I
evidence is
don't
not
have a
presented.
level.
That evidence is not there.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's also kind of hard because Israel has killed a
Like
lot of
I
UN
would say
workers,
I would say that
have
like that is
gone to
indicative of a
Israel.
mindset for genocide. Like I would say that's indicative of a mindset for genocide, but that's not the same as like, okay, well, here's proof, like concrete proof of the secret orders that are being carried out in order to like mass grave Palestinians. Make sense?
Would you say that Palestinians are dehumanized
Oh yeah,
in the
absolutely. I
Israeli?
absolutely think, yeah, I absolutely think that Palestinians are dehumanized by Israel. Yeah, by the Israeli
Yeah,
government,
and do
right?
you think
Like the
there's like a
fucking nuclear.
certain level of organization that goes on into the killing of civilians in Gaza? Because it is like a
What do you mean by
organization sort of thing,
organization?
right?
What does that mean,
Wait,
organization?
sorry, I meant systematic. Systematic, that's the right word. Like it's a systematic,
Systematic.
yeah, that it is a part of
What
the
does systematic
Israeli
mean?
system and
What do
how
you
it
mean by
works.
that? Because systematic can mean anywhere from, oh, Hamas is using human shields in order to prop up defenses against like fucking Israeli like fucking attacks, or it can mean all the way to like fucking like mass killings, mass done in private only to the men and boys, right? Like which one is it? Like what does that mean? I don't know
I
what that means.
mean,
That's a very general
orders from
buzzword.
the former. I mean, orders from the former defense ministers that defense minister of Israel that Palestinians should be in prison with wooden sticks. Would you consider that as a systematic order to cause bodily
No,
harm
it has to
to
be
an
the reason.
ethnic
No,
group?
it has to be private. It has to be a private order to top officers. That's what it has to be. No, so no.
Do you believe it has to be private?
I would say
So you are
yes. It would
asking
have to
me.
be
Wait,
yes,
sorry.
yes.
Just I want to clarify something because you are asking me for proof of something that has to be private and therefore I could not get proof of.
Yeah, that's the
Do you
point.
understand
It's
the
innocent until proven
Ouroboros
guilty.
here?
Wait, hold on. It's innocent until proven guilty, right?
Well,
Like
but the thing is, Israel
because
has
there's not
been
enough
proven
evidence.
guilty.
If it, like I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Like I'm saying that I'm agnostic about whether or not
But
like
Israel
there's
has
something
been
bad.
proven
But if
guilty in
you
a court of law,
but
in the International
which
Court
court of
of
law?
Law, in the ICC.
Okay, well, this is the first time I'm hearing about it. Like, of what
Oh yeah.
exactly? Specifically what?
They've been proven for, I think, I don't remember what the last order, that they should be doing their best to avoid doing a genocide, but they were
Okay,
at
that's not
least
the same as like
99%
actually
of the way
being.
there.
Yeah, that's not the same, obviously, right?
I think the only
Because
reason it didn't go any further than that is
when former
because
yeah when former Yugoslavia was being prosecuted, like when it was going after, they basically ended up like locking all the leaders and like fucking sentencing them to like prison and shit, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
there's a reason
I just
why.
like where
There's a
is
reason why a
Netanyahu
lot of
behind bars yet?
Israeli, yeah, well, there's a reason he's not allowed in a lot of countries in Europe or a lot of places around the world because he would be instantly arrested for the crimes against humanity he's committed, and also the former defense minister. And there's a reason why a lot of IDF soldiers eventually commit suicide during their life because they know what the fuck they done, right? So it is pretty systematic, I would say. It also goes back a very long time. So if it weren't systematic, then we would have to start making some sort of argument for
How
that
long? How
Israeli
long?
people
How
are
long did the
violent.
genocide to you at the very least? How
Well,
long
the
did the
apartheid
genocide
state of
perpetrate
Israel
itself?
has been going
When
on.
did the genocide start? When did
I
the
would
genocide
not
start?
say so. I would say the apartheid state of Israel has definitely been going on since
Not apartheid
1948.
state, the genocide. I'm not talking
I
about
think
apartheid.
an
I'm talking about
apartheid
genocide.
state. I think an apartheid state includes in some way the early stages, if not also the late stages of genocide. So either way, I believe it is a pretty systematic thing, right? If it's been going on this long.
No, I don't
Oh no! So
think
so
that
why is it
is the
happening then?
case. Like for
So
example,
why
I
is it
don't think there
happening
was
then?
ever I don't think there was ever an apartheid state established for the Bosnian genocide. Nor is there an apartheid state, I believe, for the fucking Rwandan genocide. Like, is there an apartheid state established then? And an apartheid state can be
No,
established
no,
without a
I'm not
genocide. Like in
saying.
South Africa, apartheid state is established and there is no genocide there. Like so,
I don't know
I
if
just
a
don't
lot
know
of people
why.
would agree with you on that.
You think that there was a genocide in South Africa?
I think there was like a form of, as you called it, ethnic cleansing, which
I
does
think your
include.
definition I think your definition and defining a genocide is way too wide and broad. Like because if you say that black people in America are being genocided, I think that's ridiculous. Like obviously that's a
No,
very silly opinion,
of
right?
course, that was pretty. Yeah, that was pretty. How do you call it? An exaggeration of me, but I do believe there is like a form of
Okay, well
ethnic
I treated it
violence that
I
can
treated it as if you
eventually
were saying
lead
it's an
to
actual opinion,
genocide.
but yeah.
But either way, I want to go back to Article 2 of
Okay.
the definition of genocide of the UN, because I was waiting, sorry, because a lot of these things that they are listing in here, Israel has done, right? Oh, and by the way, when you're saying ethnic cleansing, you mean ethnic as in just in religious identity wise, right? Because ethnicity wise, Palestinians and Israelis are pretty similar, at least some of them.
No, ethnic cleansing is a
Of
very
course, I'm
colloquial
not
term.
counting
Like for
immigrants
example, when I
from
use
the
when I use
US
the when I use the phrase ethnic cleansing, I'm talking
or Eastern
about
Europe.
like for example, I brought up the Trail of Tears. That's not based off of religion, right? It's not like they all share like one religion, all these like tribes and whatever. I don't think they were being like excommunicated based off of religion, right? Or sorry, not
Wait,
excommunicated, but
wait. I want to
exiled
call out.
based off
Sorry, sorry.
religion.
It's because someone said I'm committing genocide versus intelligence right now. I want to give a prop to that person because that's pretty funny.
Bro, don't
uh,
reach out, okay? Yeah, just focus on me. No,
so now you. Sorry, I just laughing at the
you're being
comment.
one
It was pretty
guide.
funny.
You're being one guide, okay? No.
What is one guide? I don't understand the term. No. Do you want to go back to the?
What
I do know
exactly
what.
is there left to discuss? Like, I think that the gap between us is way too
I think we
wide.
should read the, no, no. I think we should read these five conditions that the UN article on genocide mentions, and then we should look at what Israel is doing, and we should deliberate on whether or not they're committing a genocide. Let's do it together. Do you want to see the link I'm using?
Link you're using. Where's your link? What's your link at?
It's at UN.org genocide
Oh
prevention.
yeah. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, what about it?
Exactly. So let's look at the 5 points that are there on Article 2.
It's 4 points. Are you talking about Article 3? Article 3 has 5 points.
The one that starts by
I
members
think
of
you're
the
talking
group.
about the wrong article, my dude.
Okay, sure. I might be. It starts by saying number one, killing members of the group, right?
Yeah, members of the group.
Israelis members of the Palestinians, yes. Causing
Yeah,
serious or violent
but I
mental
think
harm.
but I should clarify that precedence is important, right? Like for example,
Precedent.
it isn't like So for example, like if in a court of law, right, in the United States, right, for example,
Yeah.
just for example, like oh yeah, even the law says something. The reason why not anybody can just become a lawyer is because like it isn't just reading the law and seeing whether or not that breaks the law, right? Because you have to look at previous court cases in which that law can apply to something, right? But in this case, this is why I'm referring to the Bosnian genocide trials. The reason because that's precedent. That's precedence. So I'm applying essentially what is being said there as something that could be applied to here, and that is the standard of evidence I'm using, right? So when it says members of a group, this could apply to anything unless you actually try to narrow it down due to like precedence, right? That's the entire point.
Yeah, no, for sure. Do you not think there's a precedent or that this sort of violence in Israel has happened before in history? Like, for example, in the Nakba in 1948?
I'm talking about precedence
Or
in court. I'm talking about precedence in court.
so we should have taken them to trial.
Precedence in a court of law. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. So how would you establish precedence in a court of law?
Well, it's already been established. I don't need to establish it. It's Bosnian genocide. That was in trials and shit.
Yes, and how would you establish it for the Israeli state?
Like for example, I would like be looking for mass graves that are being dug where tractors are being laid there for months beforehand in order to cover it up. I would be looking for leaked secret orders that are essentially being leaked from like top down in order to carry out these mass I'll be looking for especially targeted things like going after the boys and the men. For example, if the we're going after women, that could still be considered genocide, but in my opinion, it is one point that is less, right? Because yeah, sure, like, oh yeah, if you bomb recklessness is not the same as genocide. Genocide constitutes something that is very strategic, calculated, like honed in a surgical strike, like in order to reduce population as fast as possible. If you look at the Palestinian population, right, they have only grown over the past few decades, like ever since the Nakba and whatever the fuck, like in Gaza. Okay, so the thing is that, like, yeah, it just doesn't give off any of the signs of genocide. When it comes to figuring out whether or not something is genocide, you have to be willing to look at the symptoms of it, so to speak, basically.
She said it
Right?
doesn't give off vibes of genocide.
Dude,
Dude,
I can't
sorry.
I
I
can't just
just
say
had to
all of
tell
that
the
and
room.
you're just gonna respond with memes, bro. Like,
No, I just had to tell the room of people that because they can't hear what you're saying. Sorry. Anyways, all right. So precedents. So you would basically have to find the same proof they found for the Bosnian genocide for this one
yeah,
as well.
where are the trackers? Where
Despite
are the
of the
secret
fact that
plans? Where are they?
I mean, first of all, if they are secret, then they're not very easy to find. I think that's very obvious. Either way, okay, let's go further to point 2, right? Because I mean,
What? Wait, what do you mean? How can we move on if like you didn't
you
argue
were not
about the precedence
answering the
point?
questions. Yeah, but
What
we're
questions?
looking at.
I answered all of the questions so far. What the fuck are you talking about?
You mentioned precedents as a deflection to what I was actually asking you, which was, do you think Israel is members of the group? You said yes. Okay, let's go on to further point
No,
2.
you don't just define things by the letter of the law. You have to look at precedents. You have to. That's required.
Yeah, but you have to look. But the thing is, we
Law
cannot.
without precedents is
You
not
are not
law.
allowing me
It's
to
not
set. Yeah,
justice.
but you're not allowing me to set a precedence because you're putting some imaginary line that it has to match exactly how the
This
precedence
is
of the
not an
Bosnian
imaginary line.
genocide
The
was.
Bosnian fucking court. No, the Bosnian
Every
genocide
line
court
is
is not an
imaginary,
imaginary.
bro.
That's not an imaginary. Oh my god.
Okay,
Okay, so we
every
can't establish
line,
anything
every
then. It's just
definition
so
is
stupid, bro.
imaginary.
Like,
Come on,
oh
bro.
my god, get out of here, bro. Dude, the
I mean, you're
Bosnian
American, no?
genocide court, the ICTY, whatever the fuck, right? Like that, ICFY, former Yugoslavia, yeah, ICFY. Like that's not imaginary. That's not something that's imaginary. Okay, like what it actually happened. It happened in history. Precedence was set. I don't know why you're saying this. You sound retarded.
I'm saying, oh shit, man. I'm saying, first of all, why do you have to call me the R word so much? I mean, I'm not
No,
trying
just say the
to
word retard. Who the fuck
diminish you or
cares?
making you feel bad.
Just say the just who the fuck cares? Just say the R word. I don't care. Retard. Call me retard. Go ahead. I don't care. Who cares? Well, why does
I
it
don't
matter?
have to. I think
It's
you're doing it
unrelated.
yourself.
It's unrelated to the fucking conversation or debate that we're talking about. Who cares?
Well, okay. I believe there's a precedence in Israel's actions, willing actions to commit genocide. Also in history, for example, I think I remember like maybe in 2008, it was that there was like a huge of Palestinians in a very short amount of time that ended with another peace treaty. It has happened many times over, right? This loop where dozens are, especially a lot of young ones, then ends a peace treaty that then ends up eventually being violated by either some liberation group on the Palestinian side or some Israeli official, some innocent civilian that then caused, for example, I think was it 2012 that there was like a peaceful protest in Palestine where they went up to the wall and then they just started shooting on civilians. That also caused a whole other like. So I believe
Yeah,
there's a precedence for.
what you're making, yeah, the thing is that what you're making it sound is that it just sounds like at most massacres. That's not the same as genocide.
So you would say that repeated massacres over 2 generations
No.
are not.
Repeated calculated massacres.
And you
Repeated
don't think they're
calculated
calculated?
massacres.
I mean,
Specifically with secret orders that is being
you don't think they're
proven,
calculated? I mean,
and
it
with
was leaked earlier
testimonies,
this year
and
that Netanyahu
interrogations.
knew about October 7th before it happened, and that he willingly allowed them to
It's
do
not.
it so
No,
that
he didn't
yes,
allow
it was.
anything.
Yes,
He
it
saw
was,
something.
bro.
He saw something that could be a problem, and he chose to ignore it, which is a critical mistake.
Okay, so everything is recklessness now. So everything
Yes, he was
that
reckless.
happens
I'm not gonna unironically think that Netanyahu caused October 7th. That's fucking stupid.
maybe
What?
it was the
What are you
March of
talking
Return
about?
of 2018
You're
and
saying that
2019.
Netanyahu caused like one of the biggest dips, like biggest sources of criticism in the immediate aftermath? Like
I
he
would say it was
calculated
pretty
that
calculated.
one of the biggest like
Yeah.
fucking dips in his popularity because he was
I
considered like
mean,
the fucking what prime
what does
minister of security.
the dip in popularity? I mean, dip in popularity, it's got people like you or me or everyone around the world arguing, and a lot of people defending it too. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter popularity because, like, he's not paying for his crimes either way. And there is also a crime for recklessness, by the way, which
Yeah,
is
I
called.
don't mind. I don't mind if you call it recklessness. Like I don't mind that. Like the only issue I have is like the specific word genocide. That's it. I don't give a fuck about like recklessness. Like you think I'm gonna argue with you about recklessness? Fuck no. The fuck? Chris,
No,
I
you are
fucking
the
hate
one bringing it
BB.
up.
I hate BB. I hate the Likud government. I think they're all reprehensible people. I think they're disgusting schmucks. Okay, you're the only one bringing these stronger claims that like that I cannot support. So therefore, you shouldn't be supporting either. It's so stupid. Yeah. Like you're the one that's overextending your claim.
Overextend that Israel is
Like,
committing a
wait, did you
genocide.
actually think that I was pro-Israeli this entire time?
No, I don't think you are.
Okay.
I don't think you have not nearly enough education to be pro or anti anything.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so
Sorry,
just I'm just saying I'm a fucking drama
sorry,
tuber.
that
Okay,
a
how are you
little
gonna
pot shot.
how are you gonna let a drama tuber like fucking mog you in a debate like this? Like this is embarrassing. I'm a drama tuber.
Well,
I talk about drama. I don't talk about
bro,
politics. How are you gonna let me roll you like that?
you're getting too mad, man. I was just talking to you.
Yeah, I get
Like,
mad every
and
single time people like you go around like pulling shit out of their ass. It's cringe. It's like, what? Why even speak up if you don't have enough information? I know that at least when it comes to Israel versus Palestine, I go, yeah, go and check out Loner Box. I'm not the one to talk about Israel and Palestine. You can literally
okay,
rewind the stream
first
to
of
hear
all,
me
to
talking about
say
that again.
go and check out Lonerbox, whose biggest claim to fame is being a Destiny suck buddy. Like, oh my god. See, that's the thing. You are following another
Wait, do you know
ideology,
anything
cuck
about me?
leader.
Do you know anything about me?
No, I don't know anything about you, dude. That's why you're arguing against me. I know you're getting too
Loner
mad.
Box is
Like, I
guilty
know.
of being a Destiny cocksucker.
Yeah, hell yeah, he is, no? I don't even know who Lonerbox is. It's the only thing I've heard about him. I see, I'm not even in this, like, internet space a lot. I don't know how the fuck I ended up here. I just noticed how
Wait, I mean that's a good
ignorant you
question, right?
were.
You could be enjoying your fucking Sunday night, but instead you're here debating Israel versus Palestine. It's
I'm
such a
enjoying
retarded topic
myself
anyway.
a lot. I'm
Okay,
enjoying myself a lot.
I'm just saying personally, like I'm very tired of this topic. This topic is retarded. I tried to avoid it whenever I could.
Okay, 100%. It is a pretty hardcore topic to talk about. It gets very tiring. It always gets super heavy. So why do you make an effort to stay on the sidelines and,
Sidelines. How am
kind
I
of
staying
say
on the
your
sidelines by
opinions?
having a concrete opinion? I've said nothing but concrete
You don't
opinions
have a
this entire fucking time.
you are I don't know if it's very concrete. You're
Just call
saying
me ass.
precedents. They're
Yeah.
not. There's no precedents. They're reckless. You are kind of.
Do you watch Hassan?
No, what?
Majority Report? Do you watch Hassan Majority Report? People like Kyle Kalinske, these people.
No.
No, you don't. Who do you watch then for political shit? I think it's only right to ask you this question since you're wanting to call me out on that, right?
I don't really watch anything on political shit. Maybe when I was a bit
Where'd you get all your
younger, I
opinions?
was.
Where'd you get all of your opinions then?
When I was a bit, I have.
Young.
I go
What's
to
your
school,
age?
man.
What's
I
your
go to
age?
school.
Okay,
That's none of
high
your
school or
concern. I'm not
what?
trying to tell.
What was
I'm
your
not trying
age?
to tell my age to some random on the internet, dude. Like, I'm just
Okay,
telling you.
so
I
why
go
the
to
fuck
school.
then why the fuck are you saying like, oh yeah, when I was younger I talked about this and that? That's kind of implying that, oh yeah, maybe you're an older person. That is relevant, right? Well, why the fuck would you be like, because here's the thing. If you're a younger person and you're giving like shitty talking points, maybe I can excuse that based off of youth. But if you're somebody who is like in your 30s and you're still giving these shitty opinions and being like a cringe like dicklord online, yeah, of course I'm going to judge you, right?
I mean, I think that, first of all, about the shitty political opinions, you have mentioned yourself that you are not very well educated in the topic. So I think we shouldn't judge each other off of that because
Well,
we're probably never gonna.
apparently I can still like, I don't know, roll your ass, even though I'm like limited in knowledge about the topic. At least I can acknowledge that I'm limited in the topic, but you don't. You don't acknowledge anything.
I
You don't
am
take any kind of
100% limited on the
accountability.
topic, dude. I wish. No. I'm very limited on the topic. I wish I knew and I could list off my head all the times that Israel has committed genocide, but I sadly cannot. I'm not
Israel
very
committed
good at that.
genocide multiple times.
100%. There's lists about it. Also, have you seen? Let me show you. There's this very important letter. Have you seen? I think it was maybe November of 2024 that a bunch of doctors wrote a letter for. I think it was the Joe Biden government. So it must
Hey,
have been.
somebody wants to call in. A friend of mine. It's not
Sure.
gonna turn into a 2v1, okay? Like I think I've already debated you. I've given you the
I
fair
don't care,
share,
man.
so it's not gonna
It's
it's not
okay.
a
You
dog
can
pile.
bring in your friends. That's okay.
All
I don't
right,
mind. I
Deeds,
like
come
to
in.
talk.
You know who Deedsbarb is? You don't know.
Nah.
Okay, you're about to find out. How are you doing? Doing good? Yo, Hassan, you need to get your boy, okay? He's wilding out. Jesus Christ. Oh Lord. Oh, this is rough. Hey, by the way, is
Not.
my makeup on point?
Sorry, by the way.
Is
Wait,
my
I
is my
do.
is my
I would.
makeup on point? Oh, sorry, go ahead. Uh-oh. Hello?
I would comment.
Hello, hey.
Hello. I would comment. By the way, I wanted to say something. I said
Yeah.
something wrong. It's not that Israel has committed genocide many times. They've committed massacres many times, which I believe sets a precedent for them willingly trying to commit genocide.
Yeah, but like it
That was
doesn't
a
meet my standard of evidence.
misspoke.
Like for example,
No, it's because
okay,
I
no,
was
no,
reading a
I'll
comment.
give an example. I'll give a quick example, okay? So the Mongols have committed a lot of massacres against a lot of villages. Like they are the master massacres, but nobody ever says like, oh yeah, the Mongols have definitively committed genocide against a group of people. That's not happened. If anything,
I mean,
if anything,
they
they
were
integrated
like,
themselves with the local populace and then became part of them.
yeah, right. That's the thing, because they did conquer a lot, and then they would take in the villages they would conquer as one of their own, which ended up in a decentralized kind of empire
Yeah, but
that
I'm saying it's not
eventually
genocide.
crumbled.
The point is that it's not
Yeah,
a
because
genocide.
it wasn't ethnically charged. It wasn't
Yeah, but he
about
did a
all
bunch of
killing
massacres.
civilians that are
There's a
not
bunch of
fighting.
patterns of massacres. Every single village they came across, they massacred and left
Sure,
a pile of
but
bones as a warning sign to other
well,
people.
listen, I was not there to see how the Mongols
Of course
conquered.
you weren't there. You're like what, like
No,
19?
yeah, dude, I'm like 12 years old, so
Okay, if you're
I
12
wouldn't
years old, you
know.
shouldn't be talking to me in the first place. You're a minor. Why the fuck are you here?
Do you only talk to people to fuck them? I mean, whether you care them a minor or not.
That's fucking weird. You shouldn't be in this
Am
part
I
of the
less of a
internet if you're like, why the fuck are you like fixing it? Shouldn't you have homework last night to finish or something? Like Jesus, who
internet is
cares?
free, brother? I can be anywhere.
Okay, do your thing. Okay, whatever. Go and talk to Deeds. I don't care anymore.
All
This
right,
is
you have a
retarded.
nice night.
Oh, I was just curious to ask you a couple of questions before you leave.
Sure.
So I'm just curious, like you haven't found him, like any of these people, like you haven't found Destiny, you haven't found Hassan, you haven't found Loner Box, any of these people. So I'm
No,
curious
I
how
lied.
you.
I lied.
Oh,
What?
okay.
Yeah.
That's why I was just like, okay, you seem like really not into Loner Box specifically. So I was like, where did you find out about him, and like what did you learn about him and how?
I think I saw. I mean, I used to watch a little bit of this content, but not anymore. I'm pretty off of it. That's why when I saw this, that I followed Foodshops on Twitch, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this person?" I remember watching one of your videos like 2 years ago or something like that, or maybe more, or maybe less. But I'm not in that space anymore. I do remember Lonervox and Destiny though, because they used to be like a duo of some kind.
Uh-huh, kind of. Yeah, they did visit Israel together and they toured the country and they had several combative conversations with a lot of expansionists in Israel. Did you
I
catch
mean,
any of that?
I also remember. Yeah, I think I remember a clip of Destiny telling IDF soldiers to turn their fucking cameras off or something like that.
Not really. So he had a fan meetup and there was a bunch of citizens of Israel. I don't know if you consider everyone who's part of the citizenry part of the army because it's forced
You agreed
conscription,
to
which is your
stay
right. You can
away!
say that, but he wasn't giving a talk to
Fine.
the IDF telling them to put
It's
away
a
their cameras.
forced conscription is also being a part of like the army and also an extension,
Sure.
a facilitator of a genocide too. So
That's
yeah,
true. That's true. I mean, in that way, you can say that anyone who was part of like the Vietnam Wars in America at that point in the 70s would also be like a horrible person, right? Just for
100%, dude.
participating.
Do you know how many Vietnamese veterans? No, sorry, not Vietnamese. American
American veterans who
veterans
fought in
from the
Vietnam. Yeah.
Vietnam War. Yes, yes. How many of them have come out and said like? I think there was a big thing, right, where a lot of American soldiers came out and
Hmm.
against their superior officers for the orders they were getting. Uh,
Yeah.
and there was also a lot of cases in which they followed orders and later regretted it in life. I've heard of that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
so
Like in a
I
country
do
where there's
consider
forced
them.
conscription, you can't be completely sure about someone's views on what they have to participate in,
No,
unfortunately.
but if you do it either way, regardless of the fact that you believe that it's an immoral thing, then you are an immoral person, right?
That is interesting because, like, when Trump took office, I remember quite a few people being quite disturbed that that he totally skipped. He skipped the draft, right? Like he used his wealth and his power to skip the draft. So do you think that's an honorable man, like someone who skips the war because he's born into a fortunate family and has wealthy connections?
Even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? I mean, it's good for him that he didn't do that. It definitely takes
Right.
something away
So
from
the
the long
poor,
list of crimes.
the poor who couldn't dodge the draft are less moral to you than Trump.
Wow, that's a really tough moral dilemma.
It
I
is,
would say
like
that the
most things in
whole,
life.
yeah, for sure. But I would say that the whole military aspect and the way that the American capitalist system keeps poor people down and then forces them onto the military to commit these terrible crimes against humanity is a systematic violence both against poor people, but they also commit terrible acts that should also in a way be held against them because you do have also as a poor person a certain amount of free will.
That's true. Yeah, you do. But in cases like this, where we can't really say what an individual's political leanings are simply because they're being conscripted in a country where it's mandatory or service is mandatory, we can't be completely sure. Also, there's a lot of problems with the way people characterize
It
Israel.
doesn't
Are you
really
one of those
matter.
people who thinks the entire country, like every citizen of the country, is to be blamed?
I believe there's a big left-wing movement in Israel that believes that the state is committing a genocide. There's a lot of them that have. I think was there not like a mass? I think it's called immigration or something like that of some young people that grew up in Israel
Okay.
that don't want to be there anymore. Yeah, right. So I do. No, of course not. You cannot generalize a whole country like that. And I would not. That's not my intention. But I am talking about like the state and what it's systematically doing against Palestinians. And I do believe it's a genocide. I believe if you
Right.
look at the 7 stages of genocide, you can apply it to the state's actions. I believe if you look at the UN definition of genocide, you can apply it to Israeli state's actions as
I
well.
think one of the reasons people do not like to apply the label of genocide to Israel, and you can apply it if you say that it fits the technicalities of what the definition is. But one of the reasons people don't like to apply it is because a lot of the lands that were initially won by Israel were won in defensive wars. Now, you can say that the country shouldn't have been set up in the first place, but we can get into a time machine and go back to 1948 whenever the country was properly established. So the country exists. It's there. We can't do anything about it. Lands were won in defensive wars, and then they were kept, according to the state, they were kept in order to keep those defensive borders. Now, you can say that it's gone on for too long, they're too expansionists and all that stuff. But what I have a problem with is the conflation of like, where do Israelis go next? There's always this idea that they can always go back to Europe or Russia or Brooklyn or some other country. But no one wants to face the reality that they're there to stay. They are surrounded by a bunch of countries that are hostile to them, that are also ethnostates, also theocracies. You can make that argument quite easily. But everyone kind of singles them out and says to be evil is to be spiritually Israeli. That is where we're at right now. So, what is your solution to this problem?
Would you make the question a bit more concise for me? I got distracted. I'm sorry.
Well, there's a bunch of countries surrounding Israel right now. It was established in
Should I turn my camera
1948.
off or should I?
Sorry?
Nothing.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that there's a bunch of countries surrounding Israel. It is what it is right now. It is an established state. It can go back to the borders of the 40s or the 60s, whenever the exact dates were. They can give up land and do all of that. Would that be satisfactory to you, or would they have to do something extraordinary, like deport themselves from the entire nation and dismantle the nation? What would be a satisfactory thing for you for them to do next?
I think in some way, from my understanding of history, Palestine used to be a pretty diverse country. There was like Jewish and Christian people there. So I think a one-state solution would be like the most logical reasoning, right? Set up a democracy of some kind that allows Palestinian people to eventually rebuild their own culture in what would now be like the West Bank or the Gaza Strip. So then you could in some way rectify and give back right to the people that have lost so much. Also, there is this thing with the right of return, not that I fully understand it, but I do believe there is a certain law that dictates that some Palestinian families should get their house back eventually, right?
Sure, yeah,
So I believe in.
that's fine.
So I
I
don't
think
think we
that's
should
fine.
fucking say like, oh, let's kick out all the fucking Jews and make it a full Arab country or whatever it is. I was just saying like there is, well, as Foodshops would call it, just ethnic cleansing, as I would call it, a genocide. But I mean, that's the thing. You just admitted to me, Deedsbarb, that in the technicalities, you could call what Israel is doing
You
a
could,
genocide.
but the reason people don't like doing it is because typically genocides are not carried out by countries that are winning defensive wars. You do understand the distinction there, right? Like when people invade, when America was invaded by Spain and France and the Netherlands initially, and eventually England, they were not fighting defensive wars. What they were doing is going to places or trying to get to other places like China and India. They were trying to get around the Americas, but they found the American Indians and they decided to use them as an extraction colony at first and then later a settler colony. That is not the same as Israel, which is fighting defensive wars. You can say that you disagree with how it was set up. I don't disagree with
I
that.
would
But we can't get into a
definitely.
time machine and undo the formation of a country. I would undo the formation of several countries. You know, several countries would be dismantled by me if we could go back in time. This arbitrary cutoff of going back to 48 specifically seems to be a contrivance. It's done because people kind of just want to draw the line in the sand there because then they don't want their own country's statehood to be questioned. And that seems very sus to me.
I mean, I would say that first of all, I would like to put a pin on the whole thing with defensive wars, right? Because a
Mhm.
lot of the quote unquote wars that have been fought in that area, especially by Israel, have also been how do you call it?
Aggressive wars, yeah, initially started by them. I'm sure there
Aggressive
are, yeah.
wars or defensive wars that have been taunted onto people. Like for example, of course, if I believe you know then that Israeli settlers, like full-on citizens, have a habit of going into Palestinian territory and what is the term? Doing some terrorizing the local Palestinian population, right?
Sure.
So I
Yes,
would
those
wait,
things
hold on,
exist.
hold on, hold on, hold
Yeah,
on, hold on, because a lot of that has
go
been
for
shown
it.
to be sponsored or glorified by the state of Israel, right? So you could say also that when Israel, the state, might not be doing something directly, but then they're doing it indirectly by sponsoring or helping settlers terrorize Palestinian populations.
Yeah, but that does not really fit into your
So then,
definition of
so
genocide,
no,
does it?
but what
Because
I'm saying
genocide
is,
requires
what I'm saying is,
state mandation.
no, 100%. I'm not saying that what the settlers do is necessarily genocide by themselves, but I'm saying that when you combine it with, for example, these quote unquote defensive wars that are probably just an after effect of the settlers' actions, then you allow Israel and are giving Israel a justification to do a defensive war that somehow ends them, gives them more land. Because from my understanding, a defensive war is to defend what you have, not to get some more. So I don't understand how you can say, oh, it's defensive, but they gained land.
Yes, I agree with that. So if you want to say that they started something and therefore Palestine finished it, you can make that argument. But I never see the argument go to returning to more conservative borders. I never see it return to like let's return to the 60s borders or the 40s borders. It's always no, let's do a one state solution. And my question to you would be this,
Because
like are
as
you
you
also for
mentioned, sorry,
are you also for land back for the Ashkenazi Jews who went out of other areas? I'm sorry, not the
uh,
Ashkenazi Jews, the Mizrahi Jews who came out of other
the
places in the
reason
Middle East.
why no one is making an argument that we should go to the 60s borders or the 48 borders is because, as you
Mhm.
said, the state has already been established and people are, growing up there. It's their land now, so
Right.
we can't go back in time.
So
That's why
I
the
find a
most
very easy
logical
solution.
solution, please,
I think it's a super
sorry, I
easy
gotta
solution,
finish.
actually.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
gotta make
but
it a one state
let me
and
give
set
you
up a
one point.
democracy.
You're pro Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. What other countries can I think of? All of them. Jordan, Egypt. You're pro all these countries. You're pro all these countries having some kind of land back for Mizrahi Jews who were displaced from those places and they went to Israel because they did not feel comfortable in these areas. You're pro all of them getting
Same
land back, and you're pro
Mizrahi
all these
Jews that
countries being
were.
dismantled and giving citizenship to current immigrants who are
Are
working
you
there. You're
talking
pro
about
all
the
that.
same Mizrahi Jews that were sterilized in Israel for being black?
You're talking about the Ethiopian
I'm pretty
Jews.
sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was fake.
No,
Pretty sure that
Yemeni.
was fake.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm
bro,
not even sure
everything's
of the
fake for you,
viability of
food
that story,
shops.
but
Your friend here,
I'm
hello, wait, I'm sorry. Food shops, your friend here is a well more articulated and intellectual person than you. You should definitely give your channel to her. I'm sorry, I'm having
This
so
is why I
much more
don't
fun
cover
okay.
here.
politics.
That's
Maybe she should start her
that's not what I'm
own
here
thing.
for.
Who cares?
What I'm really surprised by is that you called into Foodshops' show and you're telling her that she's not good enough to do it. You're welcome to call up Destiny. He's much more well read blood on this than me and
Who
her.
is that? Who's that?
Destiny, the streamer
Wait,
Destiny, call into
you
Destiny.
acknowledged
He'd
who
be happy.
Steven was. Like,
Oh, yeah, sorry. I
earlier
thought I
in the
heard
conversation.
Dusty instead of sorry. It was I didn't hear it properly. Destiny, yeah, I doubt he would give. First of all, I doubt he would give anyone like me much attention. I'm not nobody.
He would.
But
Trust me.
sure, maybe
Would you like me
I'll
to
try
set it up?
someday.
I'll do it.
Are you connected with him?
It's too late. I already called for him to join.
Oh, is he coming?
Maybe he said where.
I think he might be
so
out.
I just linked him. Who knows?
Okay. Well,
I mean, it would
if you were
be
pro,
an
if you were
honor.
pro dismantle, okay, give me your impression of the Gulf
Don't
countries,
say it like
how
that,
they treat
please.
people who work there,
Dude,
Saudi Arabia,
are you
and all of
kidding
its
me?
dealings. I want to know about how you feel about the rest of the Middle Eastern countries, starting with the Gulf states, specifically the oil-rich Gulf states, who are quite well established and who are allies of America. Let's
Like
start there and
Iran.
then move on to Jordan and Egypt
Oh,
and Yemen.
okay. I mean, I definitely think that well, I mean, so we're talking about the expulsion of Jewish people from countries and whether they should get their homes back.
That
I
as well as
think,
what do you think of their current state right now? Do you have as much smoke for them as you do for Israel? That's all I want to know. If you have equal smoke for
oh yeah,
everyone in the
100%.
region, you do.
I know
Okay.
UAE. I know well, I don't know a lot. I'm pretty ignorant myself, but I have heard of a lot of controversies in the region, and I am pretty much against most forms of modern government. So if you want to throw smoke somewhere else, listen, I'm willing to learn. Dude, we throw smoke everywhere. I don't care. Like, I'm just also for Israel is committing a genocide. Like, and that's kind of everything that I wanted to talk about when I joined in here. So it would seem a bit of a waste to bring some very well read up person in here, right? But I mean, we could do it.
You're pro. Wait, hold on. This is honestly not me throwing shade. I'm just really curious. You're pro Israel genociding?
Nah, I believe Israel is committing a genocide. I'm not pro it. Sorry, I don't know
Okay.
if I miscommunicated myself.
Oh, I understand. You're pro the position that they're genociding. Okay, I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. Of course, I'm not. I don't believe anyone should be,
Actually,
or any state.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. So I have come to the conclusion, this is my conclusion now. I don't think it matters whether or not they are committing a genocide. We can apply that label to them if we want. It doesn't really solve anything because everyone agrees on both sides of the aisle. Everyone that I know, that I speak to, even people who were initially pro-Israel and thought that they should be going after Hamas after October 7th, even they believe that Israel has gone too far. They just don't want to apply the label genocide because of the unique circumstances that Israel is in. And would that be palatable to you if they just said that no, a lot of atrocities are being committed, we just don't want to label it genocide because we don't think it applies in the situation? Would that be acceptable to you?
I would say that unique circumstances are a setup for extraordinary behavior, and Israel's behavior has not been extraordinary. It has been rather demonic. So, I mean, you could say, oh,
is that
Israel
an
is in
academic
this
term,
very
demonic?
Yeah,
well.
I think
No, what?
that's a split here because like a lot of people can agree that things can be really, really horrendous and heinous. Like let's say it's a serial killer who's going about murdering very specific sets of people. They can agree that that's heinous and that requires like the greatest extent that the law can punish them at. But I don't think they need to call it a genocide to make it atrocious. Do you understand? Like I think that's where the divide is because a lot of people don't want to call this a genocide specifically because of the unique circumstances within which Israel did win these wars that they did in the
But I feel like
past.
not calling it. But I feel like not calling it a genocide is kind of setting. First of all, it's setting like a. How do you? It's dignifying the. And I know everyone, or as you said yourself, a lot of people have a problem with the Israel state's actions. But I think it is also dignifying, as you called it, like this defensive wars, like this expansion of Israel, because you're saying then it's not a genocide. You know, I don't want to put the genocide label. It's just war. It's just war, and that's how it ends up. It seems like a
I
colloquial. It's like a colloquial way of turning a blind eye to genocide and making it just seem like another war that is pretty horrific. Like,
I
for
disagree.
example,
Yes, but
Vietnam.
that's the problem that people are now having because they think that you want to, not you specifically, but the people who are pro calling it a genocide, they think that they want to apply this label because it makes it bigger in the eyes of the international public. Like if you hear the word genocide, you're more likely to take it seriously. I think that's a failing of humanity.
They
It's a
should
failing of
be
all of us if we need it. Yeah, yeah, I understand, but
100%. And it should be taken seriously.
I know, I agree. I completely agree. But then there's so many other things that can be taken seriously as well. Like you can call, would you call
100%.
the call the cleansing of the Ukrainian people from certain areas an ethnic cleansing or a genocide, just to make the world take it more seriously? Is that where we're at right now? That we need to call everything that is heinous a genocide to get people to pay attention to it?
Shit. I mean, that's a tough question. I wouldn't know because I'm not very well known on the Russia-Ukraine war, and I know there is like a lot of
I am.
areas and
Don't
a lot of,
worry.
for example, if we're talking about the 7 stages of genocide, there is like one of them that is like dehumanization. I know the Russian state has done a lot of like dehumanization campaigns against Ukrainians and stuff like that. So I don't know how far you can push it, but we're talking about a 3-year-old war versus a 50, 67, almost 70-year-old conflict. Like, I mean,
Kind of.
so
I think the regions were given to Ukraine in the 80s, so we can sort of
no,
push
I
it
mean
back then, the
70 for
tensions at least.
I mean
It wasn't
70
an active war for
years
as long,
of
correct?
I mean 70
Yeah.
years of the Israel state. Not I mean
Yeah.
I meant there's 70 years of kind of documented massacres in the area of Israel and stuff like that. And of course, there is also like a lot of history in Eastern Europe and Russia. And maybe I
Yeah.
should know more about it to be able to define whether or not it's a genocide. But it's not in the zeitgeist of the modern talks, right? So I've just heard more and talked more about the Israel-Palestine situation. So I wouldn't know. I couldn't not give you a clear answer as to whether or not I could call that a genocide.
Yeah. Whenever people make these comparisons, they also bring up like places like South Africa and even Uganda, where there was the expulsion of Kenyans and Indians. South Africa was
I
controlled
know.
by a white
I was in
minority,
Uganda.
Rhodesia. Whenever people bring up these other comparisons, the reason people don't like saying things like apartheid or any other analog in history is because it's always so different. Like if you look at South Africa, where apartheid did happen, it was a minority population controlling a bigger population, and that authority was given to them by colonizers initially. It was white people who had no connection to the land who had initially given it to them. Now, there's a lot of farmers who were around in the region that were perfectly nice people, I'm sure. There were some who were perfectly nice, but they were all expelled at the same time, or they were all forced to move at the same time because people thought that we need to have our right back in this land because we were not respected for the longest time. Now, the Jewish population, you just admitted to me that the Jewish people have been in this area, in the Palestinian region, for the longest time, right? They've been a continuous presence in that region. So that's why people don't like comparing it to South Africa, Rhodesia, and other analogs that they try to compare it with, or even things like Ukraine and Russia. It's not really applicable because, like you said, Ukraine and Russia at some point were part of the Soviet Union. They were once united. And in this case, that doesn't seem to be a good analog because they were away for so long, they came back. Now, I don't really know what the solution people are offering today is, but there is this sentiment that everything about Israel is wrong. It should never have been set up in the first place, and that they're actually Europeans. Do you have that view that they're actually white people who are mostly European that are trying to colonize an Asian region? Is that your opinion, or is that something that you've come across before?
I
I
mean,
mean, they call them colonizers. So.
the inception of the Israeli state was as a safe haven for immigrants or refugees of the massacres committed in Europe in the 40s, right? Massacres, as
Yeah.
Foodshops
So
would call it.
I would say
But
more than that, a lot more
genocide.
than that. But yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
totally, I don't
100%.
know
So
the
yeah, I mean, it is like a lot of European people that have fled, yeah, and are settling. Same thing in South Africa too. I mean, that's from my understanding, South Africa, as when it was an apartheid state, had very close connections with Israel, and they were very good allies. So I don't know why you're saying that the comparison is not valid when they been shown to do business with each other and support each other in this apartheid project and settler project. I mean,
Yeah,
so
so
yeah,
even in the
I would
connections,
share.
yeah, the
I would
connections, I
say,
mean, the
yeah.
way the state was set up, they had to have America's and Britain's backing initially. They had to. There was no
Yeah.
choice. But I don't really know what everyone's alternative solution is because at the time, America was not letting in every Jewish person who wanted safe haven. They weren't saying, "Oh, come all, come all, and let's all settle all of you in here." There were limitations to how many they would allow in. So at the time, I think it's really easy for us to retroactively be like, "Oh, they should never have come to this place, so they should have found somewhere else." But the truth is that there really
But I've
wasn't
never
a
said
lot
that.
of options.
But I've never said any of those. I'm simply saying Israel is committing a genocide, which
at the current
you already
moment.
agreed with me.
I think if you can
And I
fit
would also
it,
say that it's a very long-standing project, and you agreed with me in the technicalities. You're making this argument that colloquially people don't want to call it that because there is some very serious comparisons to other genocides that were maybe a lot worse, with the very higher figures and with a lot higher figures and
yes.
stuff. But in reality, you're making a colloquial argument for something that you admitted to me colloquially could be like valid for my way, right?
Not,
So
yeah, you could technically, yes. I'm sure there's some courts of law, some international courts of law that could easily fit it into a genocidal framework for sure. But I think
very
language is made for
also.
humans and humans were not made for language. Like we use language to best describe situations, and I do think it's
Ah,
a unique
yeah, I
situation.
think you're
And
wrong in that. I think you're so
I
wrong
think
in that.
I think the
Humans are
Holocaust was
so
a
made for
unique.
language. We are made
No.
to talk. Yes, we
No,
are,
no, we are
dude.
not because
It's the communicate.
we survived several centuries without language. So you're wrong there. We found language much
Oh,
after stories even. Yeah. Things were drawn on caves and
language
stuff
in
before we
general,
had
the
proper
ability to
language.
communicate. I'm sorry. So you don't believe the ability to communicate is inherent to us as human beings?
To communicate, yes, but language is quite recent in our development, in
How
our
would you?
history, if you believe in
How would
evolution.
you find how what? How recent?
I can't date it for you, but I think if you looked at a clock, then language would
Give me an
be.
estimate. I'm not a serious guy. I say wrong stuff all the time. But give me an estimate. Like how language. What do you define as language? Because I'm sure we have had a lot of languages that were lost to time.
Yes, we have, yeah.
That we don't have any written. That we
Yep,
don't have any
we have
written
like a
proof for.
prototype. We have an ancient prototype of a language that was Latin and Sanskrit combined. That is the oldest one that I can think of. And I don't think it's more than, I'm not sure exactly when it was developed inside human development, like when we took our human form from evolution. But I'm fairly sure it's not something that has really been part of evolution. Only humans have language the way we have it sophisticated to this point. So it's not
Yeah,
really,
but
we're
I
not really
believe.
made for language. We can survive perfectly fine without it because we've survived throughout evolution without it until we got to this Homo sapiens form.
Isn't it like all forms of communication a form of language? I mean, I think we're just disagreeing about what language definition. Maybe I should look it up. I've never actually looked up definition of language.
I mean, I
A
obviously mean
structured
things
system
that
of
linguists
communication.
study.
A structured system of communication using spoken sounds, written symbols, or physical gestures. Okay.
Yep.
So it seems
I think that's recent.
pretty. Do animals have language?
I don't know. I think some of them might, like dolphins, might have language, or their
They
own
do
way of
not have a
communicating.
true. Okay, so are we talking about grammatical language, like written?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
That's what I mean.
Sure,
Yes.
sure, sure.
So obviously, I can't point to something and say, oh, that's a genocide. So it is a word that is obviously a complicated word, and we try to apply it as best we can to various situations. And I'm saying the reason people don't want to apply it is because the greatest known genocide in the world is the Holocaust. And when you look at the Holocaust, it's the circumstances of it are so different. The Jewish population in Germany was a docile population. They weren't doing anything to instigate wars against them or to instigate the kind of hatred apart from just being successful. So that's why people just think it's not a good analog to people who are defending their borders or trying to stop suicide
Sure, but
bombers. There was no suicide bombing happening.
we have looked at the general trends of what happens in genocides, right? And we have painted some broad strokes so that we could, as you say, most genocides are very complicated and very dodgy situations and stuff like that. So we have painted the broad strokes so that we could easily put the definition and then draw a line and say this is wrong, because or else you could always keep pushing the argument further, as you are doing right now, and keep pushing it like, no, it's not because of this, or it's a language issue. Well, we painted the broad strokes for a reason, and they were painted right after the biggest genocide ever
Yes.
committed, the most famous
Mhm.
one. So, I mean, I'm just looking at the broad strokes that have been defined, and I'm saying, yes, the definition fits. If you're saying, oh, but the definition is too broad, then that's a different argument. And then you're saying, well, it's not really a genocide because the definition is, it doesn't fit in this situation, really. But you look at the things, the broad strokes are there. Well, how many details do we need? As Foodshops started saying earlier, sorry, not to bring Foodshops into this, but like one of the things that Foodshops was mentioning is this, like, oh, there should be secret orders, and we need
Yes.
verbal confirmation and stuff like like that. But then you are stuck in you're missing. I think Hassan
You're missing the
said this.
evidence. Wait,
There's a
Hassan.
bunch. There's a
missing
bunch
the
of things
forest
that
for the
don't
trees.
fit.
Hold
There's
on.
a. I'm
You watched
sorry, I
Hassan.
forget your name. There's also a bunch of things here that don't fit because you
I
will agree that there's an Arab
watched,
population. There's
2
an
years
Arab
ago.
population inside Israel, right? And I think it's about 20%, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
stopped
I forget
watching
the exact
Hassan
percentage.
after I stopped watching. This is my big moment. I stopped watching Hassan after the leftovers break. It broke me heart.
Oh,
And not because I disagreed with Hassan or anything like that, but I also really
you
liked
just didn't
Ethan
like
for
the
many
drama.
years. Yeah,
You
I
just
should.
miss
I'm not
Ethan.
I miss. Yeah, I miss the old Ethan. You know,
The old
and just
Ethan.
seeing all that drama and stuff like that, it kind of
The
broke my heart. So I stopped watching
the
Hassan there too.
non-Jewish Ethan.
Yeah.
Shut up!
So wait.
No, that was never about it. What do you mean? I didn't even fucking know that.
One other point that I wanted to make before I do have to leave, but one other point I did want to make is that another reason people don't like calling it a genocide is because there is an Israeli population that is comprised of Arabic people. I think it might be about 20%. I'm not entirely sure of the exact percentage, but there's a thriving Arabic population that does have citizenship in Israel, and they live alongside the Jewish population there. I mean, the religiously Jewish population there quite peacefully. And I believe that they do have good representation in really great academic careers, including medical licenses and things like that. So I think
Isn't
that's
there
one
also
of the
with that
other
they have a
reasons.
different? I heard they have also a different form of ID too, and that they are not allowed to marry.
You know what? This has been brought up to me before, and I've tried to look into this, and I couldn't find any evidence of it. But if you can send it to me, or if you can send it to Foodshops, I will agree with that. If anyone can find me actual evidence that the Arabic citizens as well as the Jewish citizens are treated differently, I will totally bite the bullet on that because I just haven't been able to find it myself. And everyone that I've seen argue this. Even I've seen several Mehdi Hassan debates on this topic against a bunch of different people, and it never gets brought up. It never gets brought up as the citizens who
Sean
actually
okay.
live in
Law?
Israel.
I'm here with. Apparently, it's only Palestinians that are allowed into Israel that get a different ID, and I
Yes.
don't know about the local Arab population on whether or not they
I
also
don't believe the
share
local
that.
Arab population is treated
Yeah,
differently. I don't believe they
I
are.
just got fact checked by my friend here. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, listen, but Loki, I would love to study a bit more on the topic and come back to the conversation because I was actually not ready at all. As I mentioned earlier, I was smoking weed, caught the Foodshop stream. This thing with Israel is not. Yeah, sorry, yawn. I'm excusing myself, but I would really love to come back and study a bit more on the topic and have a conversation again, if that's possible.
Bro, your name
Yeah,
is
let's all
literally
do it, and we'll
Foodshops
also
the
call
Ignorant.
Destiny.
Like,
sorry?
Your name is literally
I just said we
Foodshops
should
the
all do
Ignorant.
it.
Oh.
One
God,
at a
please.
time, please.
At one time I already moved on from the topic. Oh my god, please don't drag me back into IVP, please.
Okay. All right. We'll do it some other time. It was nice talking to you. I didn't want to be too abrasive, but I thought it was an interesting topic to talk to someone who had a huge problem with it. But I do think at some point you should probably prepare, and I think you might enjoy calling into one of Destiny's streams and like debating him on it. He knows way more about this than me.
Well, I remember seeing a meme of him reading Wikipedia. That was pretty funny.
That's not a bad place to
So
start, actually.
Oh yeah,
Honestly,
no,
if more
100%.
people.
I agree.
Yeah.
Wikipedia has a lot of great resources people can use to learn.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe I should do the same and come back and debate the topic. But I mean, I think Barb, thank you so much for the conversation. You seem very open or very well spoken. Though I am gonna take my win and say that Barb agreed with me that technically you could call it a genocide, and
There's many
you should
courts
take your
that
win.
have. Yeah, they have.
Yeah, and you should take, and I think Foodshops should take the win in calling me out for being a little troll and a little hater, because that was definitely my intention, and I did not expect to end up having it.
I don't think you show me the fucking genocide thing either. So
Proof? It's okay. No worries. I was not looking for your validation. It's okay. But
no,
thank you
bro,
so much. This was so good. It's so fun. So I would love to talk to you again, Barb. Foodshops, I might text you. I might come in someday if I'm bored.
Okay, great.
All right, thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you so much for the talk.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay.
You too. Bye.
No problem. Bye.
Okay, that ended amicably. I'm sorry. I just had to come in and like have this discussion. Sorry.
Wait, how much research have you done into the Israel versus Palestine? I'm actually surprised you know so much, because I actually knew a lot about like the topics you specifically were talking about. You're talking about the Jewish pogroms from Egypt, Iraq, Afghanistan. I'm pretty sure in Afghanistan or Egypt, I think in Afghanistan there's only one Jew left, like literally one Jew
Oh,
left on the
really?
census. Yeah, like his, I don't know. It would be funny
No,
if his name was Todd or
because
something. But
a lot of people like forget, like with the Ashkenazi Jews as well as the Mizrahi Jews, there's a bunch of them that mixed over time. And
Mhm.
right now the population is not as divided as people would like to believe. They like to think that, oh, the European population that initially came from the Soviet Union and other places in Europe are all
Mhm.
distinct from the actual local Jews who kind of went out of the
Yeah.
surrounding Arabic states. That just isn't true anymore. I think if you actually went into the population, you might find something at the genetic level, but it's almost like saying like white people in America are like Italian and Irish. You can't really tell them
Yes.
apart.
Yeah.
They've all mixed. It's been
Pretty
years. It's been
much.
years since the mixing has happened. And a lot of
Yeah.
people just don't
Mhm.
I was just
Yeah.
going to
What's
say, a
up?
lot of people just don't want to accept that there's people that were there locally the whole time who moved their families out of certain Arabic states because they felt more comfortable in an all Jewish state because they thought that they would get more rights or they would be treated in a certain way. And that cannot be discounted either, that push pull sort of happened. It was people coming in from other countries, yes, but also more local people were being pulled into Israel because they thought that it would be more safe for them. And no one likes to address that because they just want to make it seem as though it's all like white people coming in who don't have any genealogy that
It's
is
really
tied to the
not white
place.
people. If you actually see the Israeli population, a lot of it is brown, bro. Like a lot of it is brown. The reason why I also disagree with the apartheid kind of talking point is also because Palestinians can vote in Israel. Do you know that?
Yeah, I mean, no, the Arabic population that is Israeli can vote in Israel.
Well, yeah, but like the
But they call
Palestinian
themselves they
populace
do
can
call
vote.
themselves Palestinian if you ask them, yes. But I
Oh,
believe
okay.
they're called Arabic citizens of
I didn't know
Israel.
that. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, like, dude, the thing is that like you can 100% like if you want to come in here and talk about like the West Bank and how like Israel is doing shit in the West Bank, that is actually the most heinous shit. Like in my opinion, that is
I
more
know,
heinous
yeah.
than
Like everyone kind
anything
of
that is happening
agrees
in
that
Gaza.
at this
But
point, enabled by Trump, like a lot of shit is going down. I don't think anyone actually disagrees with that, though. I don't think anyone
mhm,
really disagrees at this point that things have gone too far. The atrocities have to stop.
yeah.
There needs to be better negotiations. And
Mhm.
with Iran being thrown into the mix, it's gotten even messier. I don't think anyone I know personally has ever said, "Wow, this is so base. Like, let's keep it going." It's just the whole American
Wait, in the
allyship.
West Bank? In the West Bank?
I've never heard people say that that's awesome. Like, I've never heard it.
I have seen it before. Listen,
Expansions.
okay, I have seen it before, okay, and you have no idea. There are definitely crazy like pro-Israeli like
Oh my
settler people
God.
out there. I've talked
In
to them. I've
America,
debated
or
them
like
before.
people who are actually
Yeah.
there? People who are actually in Israel who think that way. I can buy that
Oh
because
yeah.
I mean, I've
Mhm.
been in war-torn countries before. People always celebrate when you win the war, and they're
I've
not
seen
in the right
Americans.
mind state
I've seen
to
Americans
assess things.
argue for West Bank expansion before. Americans.
You have?
Well,
Oh
Jewish
my
Amer
God, no.
yes,
I
Jewish
think that's
Americans.
just
Two
stupid.
people. Number one, Quibbles. Number two, is another woman who basically calls it Judea and Sumaya, like literally the 3,000 years ago promised meme. And yeah.
Oh my God.
I've heard
Stop.
it. I've heard it. I've heard it. They were like, oh yeah, you don't understand the reason why we can't build on the core Israeli soil right now and why we have to build into the West Bank is because we can't make any tall buildings. It's such a stupid fucking retarded talking point. It's like, oh yeah, you don't understand. If we just build more buildings, it might collapse like any secret tunnels or like fucking like religious temples that are buried underneath or some shit. Like we can excavate these like sacred temples in order to
Yeah,
build
those
more
people
shit.
need
I'm
to go.
like go fuck
No.
yourself, man. It's so stupid, bro.
Yeah,
Like stop
totally.
justifying this
At a
shit.
certain point,
Um,
though, before they actually established things in the current region that we know as Israel, they were thinking
mhm,
of other places. They did try, I think they were thinking of Bermuda or like some sort of similar island. They were thinking
mhm,
of other places, but of course, since they have a historical tie and a link to this region, they decided to do it there. But I think it's so silly to fight over stuff like this at this point. I know that some people might have that, the really, really religious
mhm,
group that are still holding on really tightly.
mhm.
They might have that tie and they don't want to excavate stuff. But I think at this point, that's just so stupid. Stop. Like it just
Um,
shouldn't be happening at this point.
yeah, no. There's also other fuck, I lost my train of thought. I think I've talked with somebody. So there was actually somebody from this space who I thought was like one of the coolest people in this space. And wait, is there something off with my mic? The fuck? Okay, never mind. The point is I actually talked with somebody from the States who's an IDF soldier. I think that person was named Rafi or something. And Rafi, I don't know if they're still around. I think they're a volunteer soldier now. They're no longer like in the IDF. It's been a while. They're a volunteer soldier, which is not the same thing apparently. Apparently Rafi said like what he would do, or is it Quibbles that said this? Like they would go around to every single Arab settlement. You would divide it up into regions. You go from region to region trying to hold local elections in order to establish like faith in democracy before moving on to the entire place as a whole. Basically is like they say like they have their own like specific little plans or in order to like bring independence to Gaza. Essentially like you have to keep in mind like even the like volunteer soldier who fights in the war, right? Like even he is
Right.
like pro Palestinian independence. Like
Yeah.
like there's a lot of people in like the thing is that there's a lot of people in Israel who fully support Palestinian independence. And in addition, there's a lot of really like well-funded organizations in Israel that also believe in that. So yeah, like this idea that Israel like the dissolution of the state of Israel is obviously very silly because obviously you know they would all get genocided by the Arabs around them if that ever happened, right?
That's true. I think yeah, that's an assumption that people make, and it's an okay assumption for people to make because like we said before, there is a reason that people moved out of those regions. There's a reason the local Jewish population would feel more safe. Most people don't want to leave their homes. And the analog I like to make, even though I don't think it's a perfect analog, you know, the partition of India and Pakistan at a certain point happened where India and Pakistan were
Sounds
split into
familiar.
two, and Bangladesh was also split. And they decided that most of the Muslim population would move to Pakistan. And there was this thing called partition, and people were running around. Lots of people died because they just wanted to get to the right side of the country. They wanted to make sure that all the Muslims got to the north, and then all the Hindus would be left underneath. So when they were doing all that stuff, if now today someone from India or someone from Pakistan came to me and said, "I want my land back, my ancestral land back,
Yeah.
because I want it for a certain reason," I would think it's so stupid. But I think the comparison doesn't work because Palestinians haven't had a state. They haven't had rights doled out to them or a democratic nation. They haven't really voted properly.
I'm pretty sure it was just like sporadic like towns and like it was like the Wild West almost, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, exactly. It was probably a collection of
It
towns.
wasn't
There's probably like tiny little tribunals that were happening.
villages,
Yes.
organized tribes and stuff. Yeah, it was not the same as
Yeah.
like some kind of country. Like because the way that people like treat Palestine as if like it was some kind of former like state government, as if it was like an actual
Right.
like fucking country. That's never been a thing. That's just never been a thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just
So
not
after
like
the
Palestine
Ottoman
never
Empire, it went to
existed.
Britain,
Yeah.
and then it finally flowed down, unfortunately. Like, it's an unfortunate state, but you know what? The British have left a lot of messes in their wake. They really did. And I don't think they had much of a choice, even if they were well intentioned. They did the same thing to India and Pakistan and Bangladesh. Bangladesh was split into two, and then they reunified. There were so many wars fought in the name of all this stuff. And obviously, we know with the other colonies that they left behind, this other settler colonies they had to be chased out of, including America and later on Canada. So yeah, all these places have had these messes, but this is what history is. It is people cleaning up other people's messes. And this whole
Yeah.
idea that they could have done something else, like they would have the foresight to understand what would happen to them in Israel, I think that's just such an unfair thing to put onto them just because they were the last democracy formed. Like that just seems to be, they seem to have gotten the raw end of the deal because they were the last country truly formed around that time. So if you're not going to open the history books and look at how America is formed, how Canada was formed, how Australia was formed, if you're not going to open the history books and try to dismantle all of that, we're not going to try and dismantle this other country that is now defending itself and being aggressive, both for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Like honestly, like if you honestly look at it, like what Israel has accomplished is like, incredibly impressive. Like you would have like you would have assumed that you know Israel would have been crushed in like the first 10 years, obviously, because of its surrounding like neighbors that are all like bloodthirsty for Jewish blood. So it's like yeah, like that is not exactly an easy thing to do. With that being said, obviously the origins of it, the Nakba, is especially horrendous. It is like and Nakba denial was a thing in Israel only up until recently when finally like the free speech behind the Nakba was not being suppressed. Like yeah, and yeah, you know, like but it's like, dude, I'm sorry, but like I'm pretty sure most Jewish people in the world probably dislike BB, dude. Like I'm gonna be honest. The only
Yes,
reason
I think so too.
yeah, and like the reason why they think so is because BB is just like a horrible representation for Jewish people overall. Like he is like a bloodthirsty, like fucking crazy right wing when most Jewish people in the world, like no in America America, sorry. In America, at the very least, they're like extremely progressive left-wing people. So obviously, like they dislike Bibi, but at the same time, they kind of like they have relatives living in Israel, and it's a very complicated situation. And you have this pro-Palestine movement that is clearly anti-Semitic, and it's like, yeah, it's crazy, whatever.
Yeah, but most people kind of just want a virtue signal over this. I'm not talking about the caller who called in. I actually don't know his background and I don't know what his intentions were exactly. But most people that I see online, like they just seem to say things like, oh, this colonizer, white supremacist project, this ethno state, ignoring the fact that most countries in the world that is not America is actually an ethno state. Like I don't know how to break it to these people. They are. Like most people just aren't clamoring to get into certain countries. Like if you looked at Hungary, their population would be ethnically Hungarian. Like you could probably find them in certain genetics loci that they are all of the same population. It's not like they have a very genetically diverse population either. It's just that
Well,
in
also
this
because they
case,
genocided everybody else, right? They also ethnically cleansed and genocided
true.
everybody else. So that kind of makes sense too, right? The Greeks, the fucking Armenians, right? They fucking got rid of all of them, right? So that's exactly what
Yeah, I
happened.
know. It's like history is full of this stuff, and a lot of states are ethno states. They control their immigration. They make sure that their population, if there are changes in the population, it happens very slowly so that the culture doesn't change. And I think all of that is normal. Now, if people want there to be a one state solution, that's fine. But then I want every other Arabic country in the region to also dismantle and become democracies. Because you can't just have one country in the region doing it alone. That doesn't make sense to me at all. If you're not going to look at Qatar and UAE and be like, why don't you give your immigrant populations, your expat populations, rather, the people who work there, they can force them to give them citizenship. But they don't want to do that because they don't want to change the ethnicity of their countries. So if you're not
Exactly.
pressuring the Gulf states, like why are you pressuring this one country? That makes
Yeah,
me judge your motivations.
yeah, like for example, if Egypt was like more open-minded and would have already accepted the Palestinians, they would have done so by now, and like fucking gained an entire fucking workforce, right? But the
Oh my
reality of
God,
the
this reminds
situation is
me.
the reality of the situation is very sad in that like probably the
Yeah.
people who are the most racist towards Palestinians are other Arabs because they don't want to accept any of these people. They don't want them to integrate, so they would rather have them be, in Gaza, like in this like fucking horrible condition, right? If anything, like the Israelis have like in my opinion practiced a lot of restraint. Like it is what it is. Yeah,
I mean, in the
sadly.
past, yes. I do not like everything after October 7th. I mean, maybe initially after is fine, but like
Initially
things have
afterwards,
gotten way out
yes.
of hand.
But
Yeah.
basically Hamas is already no more, but they just kept on going, which is like the big issue, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
mostly
And
no
it
more.
does
Mostly
seem
no
to be
more.
in service of an expansionist mindset. It does seem to be that.
Exactly. Yeah, they want the land. They
Yeah.
want the land. Yeah, that makes sense. We all predicted it as well. Like it's not exactly surprising, right? Land is land,
Yeah.
right? Land is land. Yeah.
But also,
But why?
what I have trouble with sometimes is the way people talk about how America should cut ties. If America does cut ties, does that mean the genocide, quote unquote, will stop though? Like this is what I can't wrap my head around. Do people want the ties to be cut because that means the genocide will be over, or do they want it because they don't want America to be party to it, to
They
be a
they don't.
participant or an
Well,
instigator?
yeah, no, they don't want. Well, according to them, they don't want America to be the enabler because if America is supplying money to Israel to fund stuff like the Iron Dome keeps Israel protected, and they don't want Israel to be protected from the rockets that come in, right?
Yes,
Like
but
they
the
want it to get
naivety
its
of this entire
justice.
thing, yeah, the naivety of this entire thing is thinking that another country won't step in. I'm telling you, like India is dying to step in. Like they will not feed
Oh,
their own population, they will fund Israel. And I think so
dude,
will
what?
China at a
Why?
certain
Wait,
point.
I didn't know that. Wait, hold on. Why?
Well,
Why?
so
What's the
India and
point?
Israel are technically allies right now. And I do think that if India could kind of get in good with Israel anymore, they absolutely would. People think that even China might get in there, might get their hooks in there because at the
That
end
makes
of the
sense. No,
day,
no, no.
China
China's
just want to be
predictable.
successful.
Yeah, China
Yeah.
is predictable. Like I know that China always tries to get its hands on African countries to like make them like is essentially like mafia boss deals where it's like, oh yeah, you owe me a bunch of shit now after we like jumpstart your
Right.
shit. So like now
So
you're
when people
entitled to be a puppet
campaign,
state. Yeah.
when people in America campaign on not giving funding to Israel, as opposed to strengthening the allyship in such a way that they can make Israel do certain things the way that they want them to, instead of going in that direction where they say things like, oh, we need to totally sever ties with them, it seems extremely naive because that means that the genocide will continue and perhaps get even more unpredictable,
Yeah,
right?
because you no longer
That's
have
what the
America to
lefty
hold the
should
leash.
think.
Yeah, because at least
Yeah,
if you
that's
can convince the Democrats to
exactly.
win, Democrats can
So
demand shit from Israel.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So if people truly care about the quote unquote genocide, they should not be wanting to sever ties. They should be wanting to fund appropriately and to not loosen the reins, but tighten the reins a little bit more and make sure that Israel is kept in check. But what they're actually saying is no, cut all ties with it. This is what does not compute for me, because you either want to help resolve the problem in a certain way, or you want to be isolationist and not participate and just be like, you know what, this is your genocide, go do it. We're not going to be party to it. We want to fund our own citizens.
It
So I
seems
think lefties
it
don't really
feels
understand their position
yeah,
fully.
maybe finally lefties will actually start supporting Israel and this like so-called genocide. If that is the case, because hey, you know, look at any other like fucking anti-America country that is perpetrating genocide, right? They're totally okay with it, right? Russia against Ukraine, China against the Uyghurs, right? Like it's just like they don't give a fuck about like, oh yeah, other populace is getting genocided, because again, this is a prop against America. At the end of the day, they're snarking America. They're American snarkers, okay? That's what they're doing. Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I absolutely hate the weaponization of terms like ethnostate, theocracy, because this just doesn't make any sense to me, because
Because
that's the
every
state
single
of many,
European
many
country,
countries
yeah,
in the
exactly. That's
region.
every single European country, bro. Yeah, exactly. It's so
Yeah,
stupid.
absolutely. You think like if tomorrow, if we said that we want to transport 1 billion Indians, Hindu Indians from India to Pakistan, most of them wouldn't protest vehemently and be like, no, even if they did ancestrally belong to that land. Like I said, they were one population at some point and then they split up based on religion. You think if I told India, oh, I'm gonna send over like 1 billion Pakistanis and Bangladeshis to you, they wouldn't protest? Every country in the world would protest. This is what this naivete of like understanding how populations have worked historically is really annoying to me. Most countries do maintain a certain religion and a certain type of ethnicity as the main religion, and the only reason it hasn't come up for contention is because no one wants to immigrate to those places. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Or it's a highly
Yeah.
controlled immigration system,
The
like
only
it is in Europe.
the only reason why we have that contingent here in the United States is because people want to come to the United States, and also why
Yes,
like, oh yeah,
exactly.
one country under God, right? Like, oh yeah, why does it have to be God? Why can't it be just nobody or whatever the fuck, right? Like obviously, like that's why that's a fucking discourse topic in the first place, right? Because people want to come here. Yeah.
Yeah, right. What else is up with you? What else were you doing before this? Were you covering that video by Professor Dave before all this happened?
I was covering specifically Loner Box defending Destiny from Professor
Oh,
Dave. Yeah, because I was like, okay, it's cool that this liberal alliance is holding up, and I'm like, okay, it's a good thing to like obviously glaze a liberal alliance, even though you might have interpersonal differences, right? Like I'm okay with that. Like I think I'm very supportive of that. Like whatever Loner Box has with Steven is a very like I'm super supportive of that kind of relationship, because like Loner Box isn't relying on Steven for like any kind of like direct support. However, at the same time, a liberal alliance is important despite like differences, because pragmatism is important, right? And I think that it's a really good representation. I want to boost it more. So yeah, that's my reasoning behind
yeah.
like covering this
Actually,
specific thing.
I didn't watch the whole of Loner Box's videos, but I did turn it on for a couple of minutes and I did see that he was making notes, which I appreciate. Like he was
Oh my
making
god.
little notes in his tab.
Yeah, I know he does that. Like everybody in the fucking space when it comes to Israel Palestine does that. But like, I just wish the editor, when it came to the videos, would edit out the parts where he's like typing around and making notes, and him just reading out the same exact thing he just read out on an article or something. Like it's just
That's true.
very
That's
repetitive.
true.
It's very repetitive. Like we get it. He takes notes. Yes, it's very cool. Yes, I know. Okay, Jesus. Yeah, I get it. He's a smarty pants.
Oh my gosh, but there's so much more to learn. Like I feel like I don't know too much about history. I'm always trying to learn stuff.
No, you
Um
surprised me. Like you actually said a lot of stuff that I recognize actually. So yeah, no, good
yeah.
stuff.
Well, actually, you know what? I know I seem like a drama debater or a drama snarker, but the truth is what actually bonded me and Steven initially and what actually made me watch his streams, even though I don't like streamers very much, is the politics
Mhm.
stuff. I've always been into the politics and history more. So this is
No, I
more
know.
my normal.
I think based off of what you told me in private, I think that is also the case. Yes. You do seem to be more passionate about like the like when it comes to enjoyment and fun, right? Not just in terms of, oh yeah, defending your friend from certain career annihilation, right? So
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yeah. Yeah, there's a
Mm.
bunch of different things that I'm interested in. Like obviously I've done like a movie debate with Steven and I've done a bunch of politics debate but in more private arenas. But yeah, this has been interesting. Like I think in these spaces in particular, I think there's just way too much virtue signaling and not
Mhm.
enough in-depth knowledge or trying to come to some sort of solution. Because whenever you
Yeah.
press people, like
Mhm.
whenever you press people, they will admit that, oh, there was no other solution back then. There might not be a straightforward solution right now. That's what I found that when
Mhm.
you really press people. And I
Yeah.
think the most impressive debaters on this topic too are way more nuanced and less virtue signaling. Like I don't
Mhm.
hear as much virtue signaling from people who know a lot
Well,
more
yeah,
about
I mean, like,
Palestine.
yeah, to be very frank, right? Loaderbox comes off as more of a professor than Professor Dave. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. Like,
Yeah,
the
he
way that he
does.
goes about things, he's very analytical, very like academic. He oftentimes state like how things have biases. There could be sampling data like errors and stuff like that, right? But Professor Dave is just like literally all virtue signaling. He's not even a real professor, so it's like, oh yeah, it's so stupid.
Yeah, when I
Yeah.
first called in, actually, I was only gonna be like, "Hey, how come you haven't heard of Loner Box, Destiny, or Hassan?
Mhm.
And why are you here? Like, how did you find this stream specifically?" I thought that was kind of an amusing place to go.
Yeah, no, and then it turns out, I mean, kudos to him for admitting that he lied, I guess. But like, yeah, it's just like, it's
That was
just
a little
silly.
funny.
Yeah, no, that was fun.
Being a
No, you know
troll.
what? I'm glad, you know, he's willing to admit it. Like, people don't admit that they're lying, whatever. I want to give that credit forward. But the thing is that like, yeah, you can just expect like coming in and you have all this vitriol for Loner Box and you have vitriol against Steven, right? For the fucking, like, and you say it's a genocide and you're gonna play dumb about Hassan. It's so stupid. Yeah, no, I think that's retarded, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna let you get back to your coverage, the very, very serious Loner Box coverage, and I thought
No,
this
no,
was
no.
a nice little aside.
I need to end stream. I might have to continue this tomorrow, but that's okay. I got one guide. I got
My
one guide.
God.
The fuck. Listen, okay. I hate Israel versus Palestine debates. It's not like I don't know enough to argue it. I can argue it, but it's just like it's just
It's
fundamentally so
annoying.
fucking boring. It's so boring and so drab
That's
and
true.
gray and
You know
it
what you
just
should do?
disappoints me constantly. Yeah. What?
I was listening to Destiny stream, like the end of a stream, like Darius called in and he said he wants to start participating in feminism debates, in Israel Palestine debates. I think you and him should form an alliance where you guys train each other. Well, mostly you will be doing the training since you have
Look.
more
As long as he
experience.
listen, okay. As long as he deletes, bans my revenge porn snarkers, I'll consider it. Okay, based. Let's fucking
You
go.
should.
Yeah.
My God,
I
you know
mean,
what?
like,
I should call him in.
mhm.
I should call in and try to prepare him for a feminism debate. That would be so fun. Actually, I
Wait,
should.
didn't he argue against like substance likers or something? Like, what was his position on substance? Not substance, but like
Substance.
obsession. Different
Oh,
feminism
wait,
movie. Sorry.
obsession. No, that was
Yeah.
more of a movie debate. I don't think that was a
Mhm.
pro-feminist or anti-feminist debate. But he did
Okay.
find it odd that people were calling the man in that movie a sexual predator because it was such an extraordinary circumstance, right? Like
Yeah. Then
this person
yeah.
makes a
Yeah.
wish.
Mm-hmm.
This person makes a wish. He's not really sure. He's actually not sure at all that his wish came true. Like it's almost like baking a fortune cookie or
Mm-hmm.
making a wish upon a
Yeah.
shooting star. It was
Mm-hmm.
analogous to that. So people were
Yeah.
like, "Wait, why are you calling him a predator because he had no idea that he was doing certain things?" But then systematically through the movie you kind of understand that even though he didn't know initially, there's certain points in the movie where she does exhibit signs of being possessed or
Yes.
being
Yes.
under the
Yes.
influence of drugs and
Exactly.
stuff. And that's
Yep.
where
Mm-hmm.
he did say that he did agree that Bear was not a perfect man and he wasn't even a good man, but he wasn't
Mm-hmm.
a I think that's what Darius's point was.
Oh yeah, no, I don't like the entire. I thought the entire like fucking symbolism of the movie, the entire point of the movie, isn't about like, oh, whether or not like Bear is a the entire symbolism of the movie is like like even cowardice can because Bear is a very like cowardly person, right? Like even cowardice
Yeah.
can turn you into like almost like a villain character, right? Because if you continue to shy away from the consequences of your actions, if you continue to like not put in the correct amount of effort in order to like rectify the things you've done, if you continue to
Mhm.
ignore the pleadings of help that you know like fucking God, what was the name? What was the name of the
The
girl?
girl's name or the guy's name? Bear?
The girl's name.
And
Girl's
I
name.
forget her name. Freaky Nikki. There we go. Nikki.
Nikki, yeah, Nikki. So like if you continue to ignore like the like original Nikki and you continue to make gross comments and like that, like it's more about it's more like the descent into villainy. In my opinion, it's about the
Mhm.
descent into villainy rather than the because at first like wanting a girl is a completely normal thing. The only thing that was weird is like, oh my god, you've been chasing the girl for 8 years, right? But like in my
Yes.
opinion, I watched it, I was like fucking terrified. The movie fucking scared the shit out of me, okay? But the point is that I'm a totally fucking goober for that kind of shit. But anyway, the point is, like I always thought that the entire point of the movie, again, was that like it's about how a lot of men could actually like lock in to this kind of mindset. Like it was a warning to men actually that like yeah, just because you're like a boy failure doesn't mean that you can't be like a possible like fucking villain, right? Like in
That's
some
true.
other girl's life, yeah. Because
I
the
think so too.
point isn't to say like, oh well, this person is a complete like deviation from the standard male. Is the entire point is that this
Mhm.
person is a representation of the standard male, and that a lot of people don't realize when they started to like go into the like the madness just because they didn't take strong steps steps in between. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, that's my analysis of the movie, at least.
Yeah, there's definitely a version of the movie where he is more gallant or more attuned to everything that she's feeling, and he
Yeah.
decides to save her or help her in some way, which he doesn't do,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. And that's a
Yeah.
circumstance that was born out of him being wimpy, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a failing.
I almost see it as like the modern rendition of Hamlet. Do you know the details of Hamlet? Do you remember?
I do, yep.
Hamlet? Yeah. Okay, so it's kind of like, oh my god, you love this shit, don't you? So
I
like
do.
when it comes to but like when it comes to Hamlet, the entire point of Hamlet is that he knows the truth from the very beginning. He knows who killed his father. He knows what they're trying to do. He knows that they're after him, right? But the entire point is that he is so fucking hesitant because he's scared of making any kind of big changes in his life in order to like do things, to the point where he condemns his lover, he condemns himself, he condemns everybody around him, to the point where yeah, like his hesitancy and his only thing is to wait around and make small changes and go with the flow. Like that is his entire downfalling. Bear is Hamlet. Bear is just Hamlet. That's it. Like he is a modern day rendition of Hamlet. Obsession is just Hamlet. Yes. Like that's the entire point.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
waited
Like he's
around
just
too
meandering
long.
throughout.
Yeah.
He's meandering
Exactly.
throughout the play. Yeah. And
Yeah,
he's upset
exactly.
at a bunch of things and doesn't really drive into action. I mean, he does, but not until it's too late and he kills a bunch of
No.
other people.
Not to any
His
substantial
girlfriend's
level at
daddy.
all. Yeah.
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 Sad. That's a sad play. Actually,
It's a
which one do you
sad
prefer?
play.
Do you prefer Hamlet or Macbeth?
They're both really good. They're both really good. I like Macbeth a little bit better because it defines how like a hero can like descend into villainy. Like it wasn't like big steps and big steps. Like obviously the first big step was like king, right? Like Macbeth king. But in my opinion, I think it's a really important lesson when it comes to somebody like a war hero essentially like turning into a villain. Like you don't realize that you've become a villain until it's already too late, and it's too late to turn back, right? You're essentially already a tyrant. Yeah. So it's very sad. And obviously, Lady Macbeth is obviously like the schemer behind it. There could be a misogynistic lens in which you can view the show or the play or whatever the fuck. But in my opinion, like if anything, I think everybody likes a good female villain. Okay, more power to them. Okay, whatever. Maybe it's actually feminist.
That's true.
To paint.
But she's also
yeah.
Yeah. But she's also, even though she's a driving force, I think she kind of just tells Macbeth what he wants to hear. I've never gotten the impression that she drove him to it, and without her, he would be a better man, because I think he would always have that resentment as well as the jealousy, for sure, of King Duncan, but I don't think he would probably go all the way without her, at least not as quickly. But she's also driven by guilt. It's not like she is like, skirting through life and just on cloud nine after all of it. They both have the shared guilt as a result. So I don't think she's a significantly more evil person than he is, even though people like to think that.
No.
Yeah.
I actually 100% agree. See, this is the modern day version of Macbeth is just iDubbbz and Anissa. That is the modern day of Macbeth. Because you have somebody who was originally celebrated in the internet space, and everybody blames the woman, right? Anissa plays Lady Macbeth, right? So you have somebody who
that has always
essentially
struck
everybody
me as sexist. Okay, that is
absolutely
always
it's
struck
absolutely
me as sexist.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're saying that in a fucking relationship, it's not equal, and the woman is always driving the evil. When in a way, the man is just as fucking responsible as their partner. That's the entire point why they got together in the first place. They got together in the first place probably because they shared these like very similar mindsets, and got married probably because of these very similar mindsets. So yeah, like one is the enabler, one is the like. It doesn't matter. They don't have to be exactly the same. They just have to support each other in that, right? So the thing is, when it comes to Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, right, and then when it comes to Anissa and iDubbbz, I see the exact same thing. I see somebody who doesn't realize that they're the villain until it's already too late, and I think that for Anissa and iDubbbz, they're at the point of no return. Maybe at some point they could have realized, oh well, them have them walking down supporting Hassan and all of that, and doing all of this like weird shit, like obviously like, but I think if anything what Shakespeare did with Lady Macbeth, if anything, is a fucking feminist move, because typically in a lot of these like old plays and whatever, the woman is like that helpless non-schemer, always carrying along the fucking man's schemes specifically, right? Poisoning people and and stabbing people in the back, but not because of their own decision making. But I like the
Yeah.
fact that Lady Macbeth herself is the person who has enough autonomy to be evil. She has enough autonomy to be evil, and in my opinion, that
Right.
gives greater respect to women ever. Obviously, you shouldn't be painting every single woman like that, otherwise you are becoming sexist. But like the thing is, obviously during that time, like in my opinion, it was a pretty bold move. I'll say, especially
Yeah, he
since
has a good balance, I think, of
yeah,
female
yeah,
characters.
yeah, especially when Shakespeare wrote his plays specifically for royalty. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
Was gonna say something. Yeah, the whole Anissa thing, I've seen like a lot of
Yeah.
people blame her for the stuff, and I don't really. If you ask people to point out exactly what happened, they'll give you
Hmm.
this vague idea that his downfall coincided with them getting together. I wasn't around to watch all that shit. I wasn't around for his
Hmm.
heyday, but I
Hmm.
do know that when men are very successful, like that Jeff Bezos dude, you know
Yeah.
him, right?
Hmm.
Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos. When Jeff Bezos broke up with his
Are
wife,
you
everyone
are
was
you
really
asking me
asked.
who Jeff Bezos is?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just making it
Okay,
seem as though
yeah.
he's the
Okay,
same as a
okay, okay,
drama
gotcha,
streamer.
gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you, Steven. Yeah, go ahead.
Wait. Okay. So, what I was saying was when Jeff Bezos and his wife got divorced, when that happened, a lot of people were like, "Oh, why is she getting half his money? Like,
Mhm,
why does she get to have half his company or half the shares because she didn't make them, she didn't write the program, she didn't lead the company." But the truth is, like, when she was around, she definitely contributed in some way, either by, a lot of wives do these things where they throw dinner parties, they make sure people get the right
mhm.
connections, they might
Yeah,
make the other
yeah.
executives' wives feel
Mhm.
good. She might
Yeah,
have
you're the
even
queen.
contributed,
Yeah, you're the
yeah,
queen.
within
No,
the
no, yeah.
company too. Yeah. So within the confines of her role as his wife, even
Mhm,
though she didn't have an official standing inside the company, she did
mhm.
what she had to do and she deserved the money, in my opinion.
Exactly.
But most people
Yeah.
will never see that. They'll only look at the downfall of the man and be like, oh, it coincided with the downfall of the man. Whereas they can also say that Jeff Bezos' success is because of his wife, or like Mark Zuckerberg's success is also because of his wife, or they motivated them in certain ways. But you never really hear that same praise being lavished upon wives when they are part of a successful couple, only when there's some kind of downfall being perceived, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think a lot of infantilization of women is something that is totally a thing in recent days. Like obviously, in recent fucking drama that I've been involved in as well. Like a lot of it is also infantilization of women that I'm very, 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 very. I really dislike that. Like in my opinion, gives me not the ick, but because I'm used to it by now. But like it's just like ugh. It's just like it's obviously like there's a lot of sexism at work here. So I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff where people can kind of parse through exactly what happened when it's a person that they like, or
Hmm.
there's a person that is in the center of the drama that they want to take up for, and then suddenly the women become infantilized when it's someone that they don't really like, when the man is someone that they hate. I've definitely noticed a lot of that where they're just like, oh, this woman's good, this woman's evil, based on who the perpetrator of the crime is,
Exactly.
what the
Yeah.
male
No, you
perpetrator of the
got it.
crime is.
Oh my God. You remember Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, bro? Oh my God,
Yes,
dude.
yes.
That
Honestly,
is
those are
probably the
two very
biggest
shitty
fucking
people.
issue. Yeah, no,
Those
no,
are
no.
two shitty
It's like,
people.
yeah, 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 yeah. Because it's very clear. Oh yeah, it's a toxic relationship. They both enable each
Yeah.
other's abuse. Most abusive couples are like mutually abusive. Like most of the time, I
Yeah,
don't
they
think it's
are.
like typically it's like one person over the other like that most of the time. Because typically it's like a push and pull where every single person is trying to outmaneuver one another essentially, right? Like constantly.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's a fucking ego shit. Maybe objectively one person did like way more worse things and I agree with you, but the thing is that if it weren't for the other person, like I don't, it's not me victim blaming, but it's more like when it comes to these things it's really messy, and any kind of relationship that ends like that is like the messiest, right? So yeah, no, it's
Right.
just stupid. Yeah.
There's something that women, I feel like, need to grapple with, and I don't really know how to do this, but this is my hot take, okay? This is my hottest take. There is
Okay.
no overlap. There is no overlap between the women on FOMO, which is that Reddit, that Reddit
Oh,
area
the
called
the the female
FOMO?
snarker, the female snarker gossip
Yeah.
forum, right? Yeah.
There's no
Mhm.
overlap between those women and women like Amber Heard or women like influencers who date Tobey Maguire or men who are much older than them. So
Mhm.
there's this lack of understanding from the people on FOMO who are probably nice women with like office jobs who are very, very
Yeah.
feminist, who just don't
Mhm.
understand why an influencer would want to date a 50-year-old man. They don't get the
Yeah.
Leo DiCaprio thing at all. There's no overlap between them and the 25-year-old models who are dating Leo DiCaprio. And they need to
Mhm.
understand that. And I feel like once they understand that, they will stop snarking because what they want for these
Mhm.
women do not want. The 25-year-old
Exactly.
model who's dating Leo
They
DiCaprio is
sang
getting
onto it. They,
exactly what she wants.
yeah, she's getting exactly what you. Here's the thing. I love making fun of Leonardo DiCaprio for that shit. Okay, but the thing is that like beyond making fun of him for that shit, like I don't like, because if there are allegations that would have came out by now, it would have come out by the first woman by now. Okay, because the thing is that he's been through like what 6 of them already at this point. If there's any abusive thing that he's actually doing, it would have already came out. Simple as, right?
Yeah, but a lot of people just have, especially on the places like FOMO or also just the larger like the larger Twitterverse. I
Mhm.
see a lot of women being like, "Oh, that's so gross that he would even want to date these women." The problem is he will always have women to date because he'll always have models who want clout, who think he's hot, who
Exactly.
think like
Yep.
dating a
Yep.
handsome-ish, like
Mhm.
older man is preferable
Yeah.
to dating a man their own age who might be broke. Or if they're from the upper classes, like all these upper class girls, like his previous girlfriend Camilla Moroni is a family friend of his. She's from wealth as well. Like they don't care about this stuff. All these middle class or lower
No.
middle class values of like, let's get
No.
an office job and let's date a man our own age because that seems more proper. These are all values that are in a certain class that these upper class people like don't really believe in. They just have never believed in it. They will date amongst their social circle. If it's Leo DiCaprio, if it's Tobey Maguire, these are handsome men who are older, who have money, who are worldly. A lot of women will be drawn to that. And there's no overlap between these women and the women yapping on the internet. And they need to grapple with that because like a lot of girls are like, "Oh my gosh, she must be so tortured." And all these models, they look happy. I'm just like, they look fine.
Oh my
Girl,
god,
like
they're
get
probably
your money
living
straight,
like
enjoy your own
they're
life.
probably living the life that everybody wishes that they were living, bro. Like honestly,
Yeah,
they
exactly.
spent like
I'm
their
not saying
early
there's no
20s
room for
living
abuse.
everyone's best
I'm
life.
totally not saying there's no room for abuse. Like if someone came out
Mhm.
and said that Leo DiCaprio was like really mean in their relationship and he was very selfish, I would totally
Yeah.
believe that too. But
Yeah.
to assume that every one of those like richer relationships where there's an age gap that these girls want to be like, "Ooh, this must be so bad." That's just not happening. And a lot of influencer people, they just love the clout that comes from a celebrity relationship. And a lot of these celebrity men
And
are older. So
yeah,
what are you gonna
if
do?
anything, if anything, the celebrity men have more to lose, right? Because like, well, you have all this dirt on Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, what the fuck? That's crazy, right? You have a lot of dirt on
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio. You can ruin his life. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's the
Like,
thing. I just hated that. I just hate that a lot of like women don't seem to understand this, that there is no overlap between the two of you. Like, stop acting like you are a socialite who is going to get invited to a party and who's going to get hit on by George Clooney. That's just not in the cards for you, sweetheart. So stop snarking these influencer girls. Yeah.
also like like what are you gonna do? Fucking turn Leonardo DiCaprio down? Like the fuck? Like you
That's the
know you're not
thing.
gonna turn him down.
Most of these
That's not
people
gonna happen.
wouldn't. I
Yeah,
don't know
exactly.
about him, but there's some older. I feel like George Clooney at like 45 or like 50. I think I'd go
Mhm.
for it. I think he's a hot man and he's hotter than a lot of men who are in their 30s and late 20s. So,
Well, to be fair, it
yeah.
isn't exactly the craziest thing for a 30-something-year-old to date a 40-something-year-old, I guess. But yeah, I get what you mean.
That's true. And also the other day I heard I was on Twitter and I saw Charlize Theron, who I think is in her late 40s or maybe even early 50s. Like she went out with a 27-year-old. And a lot of women and men on there were calling it problematic. And I'm like, that 27-year-old had the time of his life. It's Charlize Theron. Okay, she's hot. Like, hello?
Dude, I wish, it's like, do you give any kind of autonomy to the 25-year-old woman who date Leonardo DiCaprio? Do you give any kind of autonomy to somebody who dates somebody like much older than them? It's so disgusting, like the kind of like fucking sexism that happens, like the
Yeah,
dynamics and shit. Like in
I
my
think there's
opinion,
certain
no.
points. There's definitely certain points where I would be like, "Oh, this man's a creep."
Mhm.
If they say certain things like, "Oh, like every woman over 30 is disgusting
Oh
and they
my
should not
god,
be
yes, I
dated or
agree.
they're
I agree.
stupid."
Yeah, red
Yeah,
pillars. Yeah, red pillars.
if there's rhetoric like that, I would totally agree. But we have
Mhm.
DiCaprio acting with women who are his age, and I don't even know. I think he might be dating someone who is more age appropriate now. He does work with
Somebody said
female
28.
directors.
Somebody said 28.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's an improvement. Good for you, Leo. They're going up in age. Good for you, Leo. I hope he's listening. But yeah, but all these people like they want to pretend like everyone who's in an age gap relationship is the most disgusting person on earth, whereas most people know. I know that if it was like a really like handsome, richer, older man who's also like great in his field, who has shown that he's dated age appropriate people before and doesn't really
Mhm.
discriminate against women his own age, I would totally date that. And I think most women would, but they're just lying
Mm.
and going on FOMO
Yeah.
and calling every
Part
relationship disgusting.
yeah, part of the frustration recently is that typically the people who are giving these takes are like in their 21s 20s, 22s, and 19s. Like
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
these people are like you don't even have any perspective on life yet, right? Like I remember when I was like dumb as bricks when I was like fucking 20. I'm 27 now. Jesus Christ, I'm so old. But like yeah, like when you were younger, like you have a very narrow view of the world, and then it will always expand as you grow older and older, right? It'll never be like honing in. Maybe it won't grow because you're like I don't know, maybe you're like counterpoints and your mindset just stays the same, right? But like that's a little bit of a struggle recently because I'm like dealing with the fucking Aaron Green shit. But like it's just so stupid how like a lot of the people that I once were having in my like fucking former audience are like now like snarking on me and shit like that. So cringe. I'm off of that shit. So
Don't
so
know the Aaron
stupid.
Green
They just
stuff.
don't.
But I should look it up. Is it something that I will agree with you on, or do you think I'm just gonna cringe? Be honest.
I think you'll agree with me, but like it depends, I guess, because it's not like you're immune, I guess. So for example, okay, so I'll just give you the rundown, okay? So
Sure.
basically it is someone who was 21 and had sex with a 16-year-old, okay? And
Hmm.
then they did not date for 8 years and then they got back together into like a committed relationship for like 8 to 9 years. And essentially like people who are once part of my community who are all like fucking 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds are like essentially trying to
Hmm.
virtue signal about how like Erin Green, who is now like 36 by the way, 15 years later, is
Uh-huh.
like a fucking groomer predator person. So yeah, it's fucking cringe.
Hmm.
Yeah, because clearly and Erin also like acknowledges that like you know when she was 21 it was a mistake on her part and she shouldn't have done that. Like essentially like they were drunk after a
Right.
party and then
Hmm.
they were both drunk and Erin basically asked like are you legal, and the woman who is named Lux
Hmm.
says yes I am legal. Apparently what Lux meant was legal in Kentucky. That's what she meant, which is 16.
Oh.
And essentially after they had sex like yeah they didn't realize it until it was too late. It seems like an honest mistake, especially when it's a college party and people are getting drunk and people are hooking up and making out and shit
Hold
like
on,
that.
hold
Like
on.
that
I
makes
have some
sense, right? I don't know.
questions. Why
Yeah, go
was the
ahead.
16-year-old at a college party?
That's a very good question. I have no idea.
Okay, I would like to know because I
Okay.
mean, I am really interested in how they met because if they met under the sort of thing where the
Mm,
16-year-old was under this person's Erin's tutelage, or if they were in some sort of dynamic where Erin had some sort of
mm,
control over her or power over her, versus just like meeting that night and just thinking that she might be 18 or 17 or whatever the legal age is in that state. I know 16
probably.
is legal in some states. I find that so gross. Honestly, I feel like it should be made 18
Yeah.
everywhere. It's 17 in New
I,
York
I
too, and
agree.
I think it should be
I
18
agree. I
everywhere.
agree. Yeah, I do agree. Like I actually think like it should be raised in Europe as well. Like you might find it controversial, but I find it yeah raised in Europe as well. Like
I know, but
because there are a
also
lot of countries with
Europeans,
16.
that's true. That's true. I think most Europeans would disagree, but also I think
Mm.
Europeans are more mature when it comes to sex than Americans are. This has always been my feeling. They are just
Oh,
more, they just don't have
yeah.
the Madonna whore dichotomy that is as
True,
strong as I've seen in
true,
America.
true, true. No, no, that is right. Draco says, I don't think she brought the girl there, but maybe I missed that. No, I don't think she brought the girl there. Erin clearly did not even know like what the girl's like age was. Like, yeah, like this is why like yes, are illegal, right? It just seems
Are
like
those
a
two
hookup
people
on
still
Discord.
together to this day?
No, no, not anymore. The only reason why this is out at all is because Aaron Green
Hmm.
is because one of my former community members named Silver came in here to have a debate with me and they came off
Uh-huh.
like a complete fucking retard. And then like yeah, this is why we're talking about it now. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't be talking about anything else. Like that's it. As simple as, right? Because I wouldn't be giving a fuck. I wouldn't be giving a fuck about Aaron Green if it weren't for people who are formerly part of my community fucking doing this and
But
then people
isn't
sending.
Erin, wasn't this
Mhm.
news from 2 years ago? Erin
Yes.
Green stuff?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I know it
It is.
because I
It's
saw
fucking
some
retarded.
leaked
Yes.
DMs from your. I'll just tell you how I know because the other day some people were talking a little bit of smack. I don't really know where it was, but I do know
Mhm.
that certain people were like, "Oh, look at these DMs." I saw some DMs or something from some mod chat on your
Mm.
server, and I was just like, "I don't even understand what's happening here." But I thought that you were fine in those conversations. I never thought that like Foodshops is in the wrong. I thought that you were trying to give everything a fair shake and stuff like that. That was my
Oh,
feeling all the
you
time.
know more than you're letting on, aren't you? If you've read the mod logs that were leaked by you. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I know. Where are those from? Who sent those around initially?
Oh man, Deeds. This is a dark
Oh
hole,
my god, it's a
Deeds.
whole saga, is it? Okay.
It's a no. It's one of these things where it's like
No, but I didn't know the Aaron Green story, the original story, because everyone was tying it back to you, and I'm just like, we don't have to talk about food shops in this context. We should talk about the original story. But now that I've gotten the original story from you, I think I understand why people have a problem with it. But as long as Erin was like, I did something wrong, I think that's
Yeah,
all we
Erin is
really
like
need.
that. Yeah. The entire point is that Erin was like remorseful about that. The only reason why Erin is being like a little bit like arrogant now and whatever the fuck is because like these people are clearly not acting in good faith, right? They clearly don't care about Lux. They clearly don't care about any kind of weird dynamic here. They just want
Yeah.
to use it as a cudgel against me specifically. They don't
Also,
care about the Erin Green situation in of itself. They're using it as a weapon against
yeah.
me. That's the issue.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
that's an issue. And usually when this stuff happens, it also depends on what the ages of people are. I have to say though,
Mhm.
like back even like 10 years ago, even 10 years ago, honestly, this age stuff was not as big a deal in the public consciousness
Yes.
as it is
This is
today.
more than 10 years ago. It's 15 years ago. Also, not only like, by the way, when around these people who are criticizing me right now, like they're like 5 at the time when the hookup happened. Like, fuck off, man. Like, what the fuck? You're not even, dude. Oh my god. I don't know. But the point is that like fuck. What is it? Oh yeah, Ethan Klein's parents. Ethan Klein's parents met when they was 16 and 21.
Yeah, there's honestly a ton of people
Not
like
even
that. I
met.
think
Probably had sex. Yeah.
there's a ton of people like that. And more recently, I find this super funny because like every time I see like Taylor Swift on my timeline, some hater from the Taylor Swift anti fandom will come up and talk about the time she dated a Kennedy boy when he was 17 and she was 21, and she would pick him up from his high school. Like seriously, she was a celebrity at the time. This was probably like 2012, so it's not too far off from where we are today.
You know what's so you know why like I'm so concerned over like this Erin Green stuff now is because I
Why?
discovered that people who really hate me like at this point like they're like Foodshops stalkers at this point but like these people are like actually DMing Destiny and Darius about the Erin Green stuff. Like they're trying to get them
Oh, are
to
they?
burn their bridge with me.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah, I
and that
know,
is
but you know
backstabby.
what? Let them
Yeah.
do it. Let them do it. Let them do it because I think what's probably going to happen after all of this is it'll just be proven to not be anything and you'll just be
It's
vindicated.
already
I
been
also find
proven to
that,
be nothing. It's already proven to be nothing. Like
yeah,
when I basically both Darius and Destiny told me, and on separate occasions. Again, it's not like they're colluding over this, okay? But Destiny told me, yeah, it looked like a complete nothing burger, Keck W, and Darius also said the same basically on his own. So yeah, like no, like they don't give a fuck about this. But it was a nice attempt to bring down my career, I guess. Like fuck off. So fucking
I know
annoying, these
people will
people.
do this, and yeah, people are going to keep doing this stuff. Like, you'll just have to take it on the chin. But the problem is, this is what I don't understand. Like, if you're, no offense to either of them, but both Destiny and Darius have also gotten a bunch of stuff. It's not like they are
Yeah,
super clean in the
yeah,
public's eyes.
exactly.
So when people are sending them stuff about you to them, I'm just like, do you understand who you're sending this stuff to? Like it's almost like you're sending it to like a priest or a nun, and I'm just like, these are not the people you think they are. They're typically people.
Do you even understand who I am, right? Like I am the controversial woman. I am
Yeah,
Miss Controversy. Okay, like yeah,
yeah,
that's who I am, right? Yeah, it's so
right,
stupid. It's like
right.
you don't think
Yeah,
that
and
Steven signed up for this when he started rating into me? Like yeah, it's so stupid.
yeah, it's so silly that they do this stuff because the problem is that if you're going to try and defend, these people in front of you or you to these other people, it just doesn't make sense because all of you guys are people that I think kind of put things in front of the public and be like, "Oh, but actually let's make sure that we understand the other side." So
Yeah.
that's a feeling that I got from you.
Mhm.
That's the grace that you were extending to Erin in that moment to
Well,
me.
because I don't owe Erin fucking anything. I don't like. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's no dirt Erin has on me. There's no fucking anything Erin has on me. I'm pretty sure even the last time that we left off, like in like talking to each other online, is a negative one
Mhm.
because she didn't like the fact that I backstabbed snarked Tom Foolery show back then at the time. So like yeah, like that's not like even back then it was like we didn't part on amicable terms, right? So yeah, like
Right.
in my opinion, it's just so stupid. Like there's no reason for me to defend her, but then they'll also accuse me of covering it up. What the
Right.
fuck?
Right.
Like I could have just lied about her and go like, yeah, I disavow her now. Like fucking, I changed my mind about her. Yeah, she's a villain now. I could have said that and avoided all this trouble. No, I'm right here
Yeah.
farming content.
I
Yeah.
honestly think the only solution is for America to have a federal age of consent
Mhm.
that is 18.
I do agree with that.
Um,
I do agree with that in my
yeah,
opinion.
because it's so confusing.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Imagine like passing through state lines and being like, okay, like here are Romeo and Juliet laws apply to me and here they don't. Like who even knows anymore? It's just too complicated. And I think 16 is kind of young. And I will say that America does not have the maturity to deal with.
No, they have like child pageants and fucking child marriages.
Exactly. It's too weird. It's too weird.
Yeah.
The country just has so much trouble with sexuality. Like I remember, have you seen any Britney Spears interview? Like someone sent me a bunch of Britney Spears interview last year when I was
Yeah.
doing research for a project, and I was shocked by how they treated her, how they treated the idea of her virginity. This is only like 2002. You would think it is like from the 70s. Like they were obsessed with her virginity,
Yeah.
and she
You
was
have to
like
understand.
19 or something.
I'm pretty sure people were doing countdowns to her fucking turning 18. Like,
Yeah, it's
remember?
very
Like, it was
stupid,
a
very
whole
sick.
worldwide phenomenon for waiting for her to turn 18. Like,
Oh,
bro, like,
her and Emma Watson too from
yeah,
Harry Potter.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Because again, they already find teenager her sexy, which is why they do it, right?
Yeah.
They do it because
Yeah.
because let's be honest, they find teenager her sex, which is fine, which is okay as long as you're not actually going out and fucking teenagers, right? Knowingly, obviously.
Right.
So like, yeah, like it's okay to keep these thoughts to yourself, but at the same time, we have to understand how they perpetuate a society that feeds off of predatory behavior, and then women are constantly being infantilized and being made stereotypes and all kinds of weird dynamics between producers, TV producers, and the actors, right? Okay, you get what I mean, right? Exactly.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think a lot of these like reviews of like sexual stuff gets so complicated because the minute you take a side, people think that you're trying to take a certain gender side in general. Like the whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing. I think Johnny Depp is definitely the bigger piece of shit amongst the two of them, but I think there are certain things that she was doing that were obviously crazy that I don't think a person who is mentally stable should do, and she was doing it way into her 20s. So, yeah, so that's not acceptable either. I was looking at like I brought up the other day, I brought up the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively case. I think she is more in the wrong over there, but there's so many cases like this where the woman is more in the wrong, who weaponize certain language because it's become okay to weaponize things like sexual harassment and to allege it when the case just isn't there to be made. So
yeah, happens all the
unfortunate.
dude. Before I was covering this Destiny shit, I was covering specifically allegations made by other women towards other content creators and YouTubers. Okay, so like yeah, like Destiny was like my fucking 130th case or whatever the fuck, right? But the point is that like when I was looking over the information in these other cases, it just seemed like bullshit. Like it's just straight up vindicated, like fucking vindictive shit. Like why did you even leak the parts where the details of the sex? For example, Chugga Conroy, Super Mega, fucking Alex Kister, yeah, I covered all of these like crazy shit that happened, and yeah, no, like a lot of these cases are just like the woman being vindictive and trying to carry off that progressive woke like fucking trend that's been happening that allows them to get away with shit like this essentially. So yeah, it enables toxic behavior.
Yeah, but I do think there's something about this space in general that does proliferate that and enable that to a greater degree. I don't know what that is exactly, but I have noticed that like there's a lot of I will say now that at a certain point I'm going to tell people that there's a certain type of online relationship that you should probably not be getting involved in because these spaces seem to attract a lot of people who are clout chasers, and then if they don't get exactly what they want, if they want sex, then they
the
get
person
it,
who
but
made
if they want a
allegations against
relationship,
me,
you're fucked.
yeah, and
Yeah.
not dude, it also like kind of mindfucks me because like remember when Steven said something related to like how people are when snarkers get to have all day to spend with like Deedsbarb, my whole family, good one. But like, oh yeah, by the way, somebody in chat said that you're a white woman. Bro, Deeds is not white. Deeds is like the brownest
No.
person alive, right? Aren't you?
I'm
Anyway,
100% Indian. I'm 100%
yeah,
Indian. I've done
there
my
you go.
23andMe. I think I have like a drop of maybe some foreign blood, like a little bit of European, but it's so little. It's like I think it's less than 1%.
I think there's
Yeah.
a professor in the kick chat that said like you were a white woman that was like talking to like no bro, dude, you sound like you're stupid. Okay, stop. Wait,
I'm a white
can you
woman
speak?
talking to whom? To an Arabic person before?
Yeah, exactly. That's the way they fucking framed it. Anyway, the point is, wait, can you speak a sentence in one of the Indian languages that you know? I think it'll be super cool.
Sure. Let me think. What should I say?
Say that Jay
Oh
Stoke
gosh.
fucking sucks and Queeman fucking sucks ass or some shit. Insult them.
No, I'm not gonna say that. I think that'll just be clipped out of context. No.
Oh man,
And they
yeah, they're
can't do
gonna
it. They
get.
can't do it. Let me just
Yeah.
say मैं अभी dumplings खा रही हूँ. I'm eating dumplings right now. That's what I said.
Bro, that's so fucking sick, dude. 我现在在吃
Yeah.
饺子. Yeah, that is what that is in fucking Chinese.
Oh, there we go.
Mhm.
What's the word for dumplings in Indian? I guess momos. We call them momos, but I think that's just the
Almost. Oh,
Nepali word for it's a different type of dumpling. It's
oh.
like saying pierogi is dumpling in Polish.
Dude, it's so cool. It's so cool how we're both bilingual and shit, and then we can speak other languages. It's so cool. It's so cool. Oh,
I know it is true.
dude, oh my god, one of the biggest mindfuck moments. Okay, so okay, sorry, back on topic. Remember last topic, okay? But like, remember when Steven said something like, nothing I do will ever be able to like control like how my friends get corrupted by snarkers in the background.
Yeah, because he doesn't have the time. That's
Yeah,
why.
exactly. I feel the same way now because a lot of these people, they're not like Steven Snarkers first. They are food shop Snarkers first because they came from my
Yeah.
community. So then they feel this kind of parasocial like dislike of me now. So then essentially what they're doing is that they're stalking my streams. They're tracing the Aaron Green people like thing. And
hmm
yeah, like and one of the craziest parts is that one of the Snarkers named Silver, the person who came in, debated and got demolished like 2 times in a row,
hmm
is now found in
Who's
Aiden's
Silver?
fucking
I've never heard of
server.
Silver.
No. It's
Who's
because
Silver?
you wouldn't be hearing of Silver because Silver is new. Silver is like a new snarker
Oh,
because
gotcha.
essentially people from my community who defected to the snark side essentially.
hmm
And
Oh,
yeah, this person who was a former like community member, I just see these people descending into darkness, the way that they're getting corrupted by snarkers. And yeah, like it's just painful to watch because it's like, well, there's nothing you can do but watch, right? There's nothing you can
right.
do but
Yeah,
watch,
that's
but to
true
see them
because
descend into
you
this
cannot
madness.
deprogram, and I don't think that should be the aim either. Like
Yeah.
you cannot tell people to stop snarking. I see the same snarkers from like the
Mhm.
snark left, like I still see them on Twitter. The only thing you can
Mhm.
kind of do is try to have like the big nukes that have been dropping from the snark left that makes people see the
Mhm.
light of day. And
Yeah.
I know even though things will not be attributed to us, I know that people listen
Mhm.
to us and they kind of clip us or whatever, and then they kind of see the stuff that we're saying and it strikes a chord with them. I do think that we are responsible for some women especially getting very irritated with the snark left of late. I think people are kind of coming to an awakening where they kind of realize that just because you feel like you're in the moral right on one issue does
Mhm.
not give you a free pass to go after people like Stardust and stuff because of
Yeah.
a very tenuous association that she
No,
might have with
the
Destiny.
very yeah. I think pointing out the methods and tactics that they use is so fucking important because they are
Yeah.
masters at social engineering. Like they have actually mastered social engineering. I think I'm like if there's anything that I am like impressed by is the way that they manage to manipulate people, manage to gaslight
hmm
people. How many people have the snarkers taken away from Steven at this point just simply by social engineering? Counterpoints, Pisco, these
Right.
are all tactics that they use that are so fucking successful. And now I see the same tactics used against me and my community, essentially by people who once watched me that I thought would understand these kinds of things. And I view as a failure on my front because it's very frustrating because like, did I teach people wrong about like the tactics that they use? Because clearly not even that was enough to like avert some of this, right? But now that I know
Right.
that there is a snarker group that is after me, it's like fucking cringe, obviously, right?